everybody. Welcome to episode 45 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's with me tonight?
Not Indiana Jones, Stuart Hughes.
You really threw him there for a loop.
That was the funny guest thing I was talking about.
Not Indiana Jones Senior, Richard.
And our other special guest.
I think he's dumbstruck.
You still there, Nikki?
All right, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
We can hear you now.
Okay. And our fourth guest.
Nikki Schutt.
Yay!
Right.
Leave all that in. All that stays in.
I'm not going to. None of that is paid in. Oh, God. Before we get too far, one thing I want to say, we have recorded over 50, this will be our 56 or 57th episode that we published, and this has been the most issues we have had before we started, since we started doing this. My God.
There's always something. There's always something like super tiny usually. But like it's just like it just goes to show in 2019 technology still is far from perfect. It's just like, all right, let's just start a simple Skype call. Nope, everything's broken.
Well, what did they say in Spaceballs? Even in the future, nothing works.
Yeah.
That's accurate for this frickin' show sometimes. Oh my God. All right. Stu, do you want to introduce the lovely game we're going to be talking about tonight?
Sure. We are playing, I think this was my pick as well. We are playing Tomb Raider 2, the 1997 game. The second in a series that I really liked and then kind of liked and then was really annoyed by it for a long time. And now I love again.
Yeah.
And now I kind of like it.
There will be spoilers for Tomb Raider 2, but that doesn't matter because this game came out in the 90s.
1.
Yeah.
The game's over 20 years old. There's gonna be nothing should be spoiled by now.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Okay.
Lara Croft is the Tomb Raider.
And a damn good looking one too.
Well, this was when the second game was like, actually I remember reading the head developer for the first game left because for the second game they were like, oh, we gotta sex her up a little bit, and he was super against it, so he just like walked out. And then, like the next 8 games that came out, anybody who's over the age of let's say 25 probably remembers walking into like EB Games or GameStop and at some point seeing just a giant poster or more likely cardboard cutout of Lara Croft. It's just like the most over the top. Check out these sexy polygons.
I don't remember any of this.
Really?
But again, this game, I've never played this game until this episode. Like I had stayed away from all the original Tomb Raiders, which I was okay with that. And this was the first one I've ever played of the original. But as I do some episodes, I do kind of want to go over like what are for us that had played it long before this episode came out. I know Nikki is a big fan of this game. That's one reason why he's joining us tonight.
Yep.
When did you first play this?
I actually played it back in 1997 when it came out. I got it that year for Christmas.
Did you get it on PlayStation or Windows?
No, I got it on PlayStation. I got it. It was like down for my brother. So
Let's try that. This is one of those old games that you had to go back and get on floppy disk.
No, you never would have gotten this on floppy disk.
No, this is way too late.
CD-ROM.
CD-ROM. This actually probably was pretty early. When did like games start doing the CD-ROM hard? That was probably around this time, right?
If only we had Google.
I'm looking
Probably about this time because Sierra started doing the games on CD-ROM about mid-90s. I think they stopped doing the 3.5 floppies, and let's face it, the games were getting more and more expansive.
For our younger viewers, CD-ROM was the technology of the future. It was like a floppy disk, but bigger and easier to lose.
93.
And if you dropped it on the floor, it would get scratched, and it would be impossible to use forever.
Yeah.
That's not true. You could play most of the game, but then one level would be like super fucked up.
All right. But like, yeah, this was my first time ever playing this game. And for the first level, like when you start off in China and that even in the intro tutorial, I was saying, fuck you, Stu, a lot to myself. And no one else could hear me because I was just like, what the hell? Like, I mean, for those that haven't played this game, this is like you take Resident Evil, but you give Jill the ability to jump over things and have to jump over things, and you still have the same type of controls. And I'm not a fan of tank controls in the first place that much. But I can handle them when I'm in a horror situation fighting zombies. I cannot handle them when I'm in a situation with frickin' bullet sponges trying to kill me.
Yeah, that was a surprise when I first played 2, and I played 1 before I played 2, and that was a drastic difference. Tomb Raider 1, the first level, it eases you into the game. Tomb Raider 2, you're supposed to be familiar with it, so you get a slight easy part, and then keep running, keep doing, keep reacting. Oh, you died. Just restart, redo, die. Restart, redo, die. Restart, redo. It's like non-stop until you get past all that gauntlet run.
I felt bad because I played this game as a kid, and I was like, I remember enjoying it, but I didn't remember if it was hard or not. I remember thinking it was
hard.
like it felt like a survival horror, and that definitely carried over to me playing it now. It still feels weirdly like a survival horror game.
I got like a survival horror game.
Behind the scenes, I was in New York last week, which is why I unfortunately I wasn't able to do the podcast that we recorded early. And then last week we all kind of had off to play this game, and I was in New York, and I just got so many messages in New York from like Mike and Steven that was just like, fuck you.
I fucking hated this game at first. I was so pissed. I mean, I was sitting here just because, I mean, everything. Okay, I learned, like, by the time I finished this game, I started to understand. When I first played the game, I did not understand. When you run and jump in this game, you have to have enough space. You can hit the jump button all you like, but if it's not enough space, that's nice. She's just going to fall. It doesn't matter.
You got to do the lineup, and then you got to jump back and then jump.
When the lineup, you can't even like, oh, I want to step forward. No, if you step forward, she's going to take 2 steps forward. You have to angle it, step forward, or back up to the edge, hold down X, drop down, hang from the bars, pull yourself up, turn around, back up, then jump. Okay, that is way too much work to make one jump.
I got back from New York. I had not played this game until I got back, and I was like, Mike and Stefan are hating this. Let me hop in and give this a shot and see if this is as hard as harder than I remember it being. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember now. The amount of, if I had to describe this game in one word, it'd be clunky. Everything about it is clunky.
Yet at the time, it was state of the art.
Oh yeah. At the time, it was literally a game changer. Also, like, not just gameplay wise, but story wise, it was one of the first games that had like a massive amount of story in it, like a ridiculous amount of story in it.
Well, there was story in the previous one as well. Lara isn't just a sexy figure from the time. She had an interesting backstory.
Yeah, fighting not Trinity back in those days, but the Flarma Nera or whatever they're called. The Illuminati, fighting the Illuminati essentially, and trying to find out what happened to her dad and what happened to her mom.
Well, that was the movie. That was the movie.
No, the Flaminero were in this game.
No, this was the Bartolis.
Yeah, and then when you go later, you fight the hold on, let me look up their name. The Fiamma Era.
Nikki, you have more background about this. You know what he's talking about, because I don't.
Yeah, the Fiamma Nera were like the cult. They had they have like a circular design with like the dragon running behind it. They're like the gangsters. They're like the Bartoli henchmen.
No, the temple monks are like different than the actual Bartoli henchmen that you're fighting.
Who are the Fiamma Nera? They're definitely in this game.
I think that might have been like the very first, the opening somatic that starts off, and there's like the warlord that's attacking the monks. I think that was them.
I'm positive the Bartolis are members of the Fiamma Nera.
The Bartolis could have been just a fanatical family that heard about the power of the dagger of Xian and wanted it for their own nefarious purposes.
See, I thought they were like the leaders of the cult. The cult is like their henchmen.
Well, you have to remember that when Tomb Raider 2 came out, there was not much in backstory to build on.
That's true.
So we only knew that Lara Croft was of nobility. Her father was a lord. That after a crash and having to survive on her own, she got into an adventure lifestyle, which parents didn't necessarily approve of. She somehow inherited the home, most likely because her parents passed away, but her lifestyle wasn't necessarily approved of.
We should say for the audience too, by the way, this is the new games are like they've completely reset the canon.
Way better.
Yeah.
Yes, but also this is like a completely different Lara Croft story. I mean, the elements are still there. She's still a Tomb Raider adventurer, and her dad's still dead, but it's under different circumstances. Like,
If anything, it's supposed to explain her backstory, I think.
I mean, this is much more like, at least in this game too, she's already kind of, established. She's already knows what she's doing. And if you're talking about the reboot, it's she's very much a brand new character in a terrible environment. Yeah. I was really sad you didn't pick the reboot because I really want to play those again. But
I almost did, but I was like, let's go old school with it. See, here's the thing: is if I whenever I play any of the reboot games, because I always do this, I'll go back and I'll play like the 2013 Tomb Raider, and then by the end of the week, I will have beaten all 3 Tomb Raiders. I love the remakes so much, and like they're just so fun to play.
I've never played past the first one of the remake.
Really, I can't stop. If I play the first one, I have to play all 3. I can't stop myself. They're just so fun. And I was like, let's go back and play the old one because I remember them being fun in a different way. And
I mean,
I was slightly wrong, but
well, as you had mentioned earlier, the Bartoli the Bartoli, that's what we're calling them now. Bartoli.
I
know
something
wrong.
Hold on, looking at their names right now.
They're a mafia. I mean, I know they're supposed to be mafia, but to me, they freaking are like cultists. Like the whole story is the game starts off with a cutscene in the beginning where it shows these monks are fighting a dragon, and there's a dagger. They pull it out of the dragon, and then the dragon eats the monk, and then the dragon dies because it needs this dagger inside of it to keep it alive.
Dagger of Jian. Yeah. The game starts with. We should say that the game starts with like an actual like rendered cutscene that's almost. Well, it looks really good for the time. It looks fantastic for the time, especially compared to like the other 97 game I would hold this up to is like maybe 007 GoldenEye. It blows
97?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, same year. And this game blows that game out of the water. I mean, cutscene wise, graphics wise in general. But yeah, it starts with like a rendered cutscene. That's true. This was late in 97. It starts with like a rendered cutscene, and it does like a silhouette thing at first, and it looks so good. Like you could get away with that today, probably, if you had that like just the silhouettes. It'd be stylized, but and then they show like a face, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a 97 game.
I mean, I didn't mind. I liked the opening cutscene. I mean, it has a story. I couldn't tell you what the story was really because I wasn't paying attention.
A bunch of Chinese fighters are trying to get the dagger of Jian and kill the dragon.
Yeah.
I mean, what does even lead her originally on this? Because I know the first level takes place in China near the Great Wall of China. What?
Yeah, on the Great Wall of China.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What brought her there? That's the part I don't remember. Like, why was she there?
They don't explain that. She just searching for an artifact and happens to want this thing. There's really no explanation for it other than that.
Just throws her right into it.
I just thought I wasn't paying attention.
No.
No, it could be that she's going after it because she's heard about the powerful artifact, and after the whole adventure with the Scion, or Scion, or however you want to pronounce it in Tomb Raider 1, she wants to make sure these powerful artifacts don't get into the hands of anyone who would abuse them.
It belongs in a museum.
I just thought it was Fortune and Glory. That's what I thought it was for, kid.
Yeah, well, that's what it probably started out as for. But then again, after the whole Scion thing, could have changed her tune.
I have no idea what you're talking about when you keep saying Xeon thing. It's the first game, right?
That's the first game, yeah.
I think it's Scion.
Like
Xeon, whatever. I
like the car / alien from Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
I'm
going to call them Scions from now on.
I want to say that opening level in Tomb Raider 2 where you fight the tigers, is that kind of how the first game is too? The same type of opening level?
The first game's opening level is pretty much an easy introduction. You're supposed to only deal with easy enemies. You enter the caves in the first game, and your only enemies you really have to deal with are bats, wolves, and one bear. And even the bear you don't necessarily have to deal with because you could easily just avoid the bear if you want to go find all your secrets in the level.
Fuck the secret. So this was the game then that I played. Okay, I played this game
a lot of
before.
secrets in this game.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. I played this first level, had to have been over a dozen times inside of Sears. Rest in peace, Sears. When I would go in and my mom would be shopping at the mall, and I remember seeing this opening level and shooting those stupid tigers, except in even 97, 98, 99, whenever I would have played this, I could never figure out how to get anywhere. Because I just didn't understand the geometry. And funny, when I played this game in 2019, I still didn't understand what the fuck I was doing. That didn't change.
I have a question about that. In the late 90s, like, Bengal tigers were still, like, on the verge of extinction, right? And you were just murdering them wholesale. Yes. Like, Bengal tiger comes out, and I think it's so funny how different the combat is in this game compared to, like, the new games. Because you just, like, lay down on the fucking trigger, and she's got her dual pistols, and you just hear bang, 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 and then something falls over and it's dead. It's so anticlimactic, but so
funny. Those are not pistols. Those are BB guns she's using. Because that's the only excuse I have to why a guy can take over 100 bullets from your piece of shit guns. It has to be BB guns.
Well, as anyone can tell you, Mike, the Italian assassin is a different breed of assassin. He's all hopped up on like some sort of like PCP combination.
When a half-naked guy walks up to me with a wrench with no bullet armor on, he should not be able to take 10 seconds of me holding down the trigger or her shooting fast. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I love when Claudio, the first assassin, like hops out and like you're standing completely still and he just misses you entirely. It's like unloads into a door.
Oh, you're talking about that opening cutscene?
Yeah.
I was like, what is he?
He unloads into this big door and you fight him and like. And he gives this like little speech about how like this isn't like the right time for you to be here or something, and then kills himself. Just like what? But it's so sudden. Like the animation was not to the level that like you could tell they were flying way above their station. In their mind, it was like Claudio jumps out of the shadows and does a double backflip and kicks the gun out of Laura's hand. But in the game, it just looks like his character model flies past Laura and slams into the doorway.
I don't even remember this.
It's so funny to me.
You probably skipped through the whole cutscene.
I watched it. It was probably hidden by the tears. I'm like, why do I have to play this game? That's probably what happened.
Lara Croft's sexy line. Pardon me, if that was just your way of trying the doors for me. And he's like, I'll kill you.
I vaguely remember this happening, but
they immediately try to make Laura have like a sexy line, which isn't sexy at all. It's just like a weird line to say. And then he says something like in a really weird Italian accent, kind of Italian accent. He's like, hey, I'll kill you with a Tommy gun on my key ring. It's like, what? Okay, we're doing this.
All of that was kind of a push for this game because even the voice actress in the second one is different from the first one. And it was because she had more of like a sexy, alluring voice. That's why they went with her instead.
Personally, I do like the one from the first game voice better than the second one.
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that the first game is better. The general consensus I always see amongst fans is that the first game was great, and then they kind of like descend in quality until you get to, I don't know, like, Curse of the Sword or Chronicles, maybe?
Angel of Darkness.
No, not Angel of Darkness.
Angel of Darkness is when I think they hit rock bottom.
Yeah, Angel of Darkness was their worst game.
But
okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, I think with 2, it was a lot more killing of humans.
Yeah, you kill a shitload.
Yeah, I mean, 3 cuts down on the killing of humans.
I was surprised to see. I looked up some like information about the games, and you kill more people in the first Tomb Raider reboot than you do in Tomb Raider 2, which is surprising to me.
That is surprising because you kill a lot of people in this game.
You are mowing down armies, and I mean like literally mowing them down. Just holding on that trigger button. Bang, 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 bang.
For me, it was a lot of hiding. But one thing I do want to mention, in that first level, I didn't see this myself because I was rushing through that level. People had mentioned there's 2 dinosaurs in that first level.
Yes, it's guarding the 3rd secret.
Yeah.
Fuck those secrets.
Yeah, you fight a pair of T-Rexes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's got to be more miserable with the handguns.
Tomb Raider used to be a little bit more goofy.
Yeah.
The T-Rexes were one of the traditions they kept in the first 3 Tomb Raider games. people I think marveled at the T-Rex fight in the Lost Valley level in Tomb Raider 1. So they brought the T-Rex battle back in Tomb Raider 2. Of course, they added to it by putting a second one in there, and then put another T-Rex battle in Tomb Raider 3.
So I'm just imagining the designers talking to each other, just being like, "Oh man, how can we one up ourselves? How can we? What's a better fight than fighting one T-Rex?" So it's like, make it 2. I got an idea. Let's throw a second motherfucking T-Rex in there. Like they all high five.
Yeah, well,
I skip secrets all the time in this game.
Well, that's why you missed it. I mean, if you take a look at my playthrough of the level, which is up on YouTube, I even say, where the hell did the second T-Rex come from? Because there is no freaking way this thing could have popped out of nowhere. I mean, there's smooth walls, both sides. This is a narrow canyon. Where the hell did this T-Rex come from?
That was just hiding behind the first T-Rex the entire time. They walk in single fire.
How could it be hiding behind the first T-Rex? Because you run to get to you get the secret, and the other one pops out from the direction you came from.
They walk in single file to hide their numbers. T-Rexes are smart. Also, I like your plays like, where'd the second T-Rex come from? Where'd the first T-Rex come from? You're at the Great Wall of China.
True. That's true.
Just everyone knows if you walk to the end of the Great Wall of China, it's just nothing but T-Rexes as far as the eye can see. I love like the original Tomb Raider games, as much as I love the remakes. The originals had like a goofiness to them that like you can't replace. Like the fact that you fight T-Rexes and later in the game you're fighting like Yetis.
Oh yeah, I'm okay with the Yeti. Yeti's shit, but
at some point in this game, you take down a one-man sub by distracting him, and he almost runs into a great white shark, and he like panics and turns and runs into the Shire ship, and that kills him and also sinks the sub. like that's a thing that happens. You just like they had this almost like campy, cheesy quality to them of like early Bonds or like like Roger Moore Bonds.
Oh yeah, I mean this. Everything with I felt like there's a lot of cheese in this game. Like, well, there's some in Venice I want to mention, but one last thing about China I do want to mention is like when you first run into the traps, and God, I had to really understand how this game works, and I was getting pissed, because you're just you have a lot of same characters. You have a lot of spikes where you have to back up or move around, so you're standing right on the edge. So you can run and jump. This is before I understood the jumping mechanic in this game of. If you don't have enough space to run, she ain't jumping. Period. Like just accept that fact.
I'm gonna assume that
you jump while standing in place.
I'm gonna assume you definitely used a walkthrough for this one, Mike, because this one
I used to walk through for every single go right, go left, jump up here. I use screen. Oh God, I would have never figured out this game. Period. Just like it is so. At least I'm not of that age anymore. I'm not in the world where look, that polygon looks a little flatter. I can jump there. It's like I'm past that point. Like I didn't see some of the jumps. I wouldn't have seen a lot of the climbing because they're just not obvious to me.
That is like the exact opposite of holding your hand. Like you'll walk into a room filled with boxes, and it's like, all right, figure it out. Some of these boxes move, some don't. You'll figure it out. Like you might be in here for an hour. We have no idea.
What were you gonna say, Nick? Okay.
Your hand.
Like how she hangs on to stuff.
Oh yeah, I like the hanging. I think it's funny that like she makes like a struggling noise when she pulls herself up, when she's like ugh, like like she does like triple backflips in the air, but pulling herself up a ledge is just a little too much for her.
Well, one of the things that really showed me what the hell I was getting myself into when you're doing the training little thing in the opening where you're in the mansion. It tells you at one point, don't jump forward, do a side flip, because that's easier. I'm like, what? I should just be able to jump forward like Link does in Ocarina of Time. Nope.
You can absolutely jump forward. You have like the Superman jump.
But it's, I mean, there were times where one thing about this game has built-in save states in a sense. You can save wherever you want and load wherever you want. Which, I mean, mine, I just hit a button, I saved and loaded automatically. But it needs that. Like this game is designed. There are so many jumps in this game that if you don't make the jump, you might as well load because you're gonna take 5 minutes to get back to where you were. Like
it
does that constantly.
Yeah, not a lot of there's not a lot of instances of falling and dying. There are a lot of instances of falling and you end up like 2 floors below and you're like, well, shit, I've got to go through all this crap to get back up there.
There was one time. Yeah.
That's where the computer players had the plus. They had unlimited saves, where unfortunately PS2 players had only at certain points you could save. Would I be right on that, Nikki?
No, the first one you had certain points you could save, but in the second one you could save wherever you wanted.
Oh.
The first one you had
that book.
save.
Yeah, you can say whenever. I mean, I just hit F1, but yes, PS1 you can say whenever. The game has it built in.
This game almost needs that kind of, well...
It needs it, not almost.
Be careful to say. I was going to say this game almost needs that kind of remake, but they did remake the first game, and we don't talk about it.
Tomb Raider Anniversary.
Yeah, we don't talk. Well, it's fine. It's just like they just replaced like all the boss battles with quick time events, and it's.
I never played it very far.
It looks better. Like, say what you will about the Anniversary Edition, it definitely looks better.
Yeah, it does look better.
It can't be worse than this game. Okay, nothing. I mean, but hey, I mean, that's mad. Okay. And like, I mean, I know it's a good game for the time. Like, you know, from '97, this was probably. I actually pulled up a list of all the games that came out in '97. Like, I can see where this game was really good. But like when you're playing it in 2019, you're playing it for the first time. Like, at least the first few levels, my opinion changed as I got farther. But when I was playing through Venice, I was getting so mad at the game. Like you start off, when I think you start off in Venice, you walk forward and a Doberman runs at you. I'm like, not a big deal. Okay, I hold down the button. Takes longer than it should to kill a Doberman, so I shoot the Doberman, and then a guy with a wrench comes out after you, and then that's when I started understanding bullet sponge in this game.
I like the Dobermans. They don't just like run at you. They like bark the entire time they're moving, and their animation is so like stilted that was when I was like, oh my god, this is a horror game. It's like they just run at you and it's just like bark, 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 and like this probably realistically like 6 frames of animation. It's like something about it, like playing the game now, it actually like really kind of like it put me on edge every time I heard a dog.
It's supposed to.
Whenever I saw a person, well, that's not true. A couple people actually did freak the crap out of me because you come across some people like hidden in corners that just jump out and scare you.
When you read a guide and it tells you, like, there are a lot of parts in this game where you can look in an room, not see anybody. You walk past a certain square and they climb out of holes in the ground or wherever the hell they come from and start coming after you. Like, there are tons of places in this game with that type of style.
Oh my god, I could watch like the gunfights from this game. Like if somebody out there made like a supercut of all the gunfights in this game, I would love that. It's just so funny to me how it's just like nonstop firing. And something about it, it's like a bad sci-fi movie, you know, where they'll have like a pistol and somehow they fire 60 shots out of it. It's like that level of funny to me. It's just like bang, 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 and then I'll have like you'll hear that for like 3 minutes. If you're in a room with 3 people, you just hear nonstop firing. Especially
like I know with the was talking about it. He said he would do a lot of like rolling. I would just run. I would either back up and keep backing up, or I would just stand there and just trade blows. I would just trade until they shot at me.
Oh no!
I could never roll. If I roll or jump or anything, it didn't accomplish anything other than her rolling around and facing the other direction. Like, I actually didn't understand how to roll and turn around to face the other direction until near the end of the game. In Temple of Zion, I figured it out.
I was a big...
yeah, because you need to figure it out by then.
Yeah. I was a big jump shooter. Just jump and do a backflip. I just constantly jumping and doing backflips in the air was...
That's the way to play the game. You have to jump and flip and just shoot endlessly.
Yeah, and I'm sure that does, like realistically, does that change anything about like your hitbox? I'm sure it doesn't.
You die a lot faster because you take one bullet in the air and you're done. It's over.
Well, no, actually, when you're jumping side to side or back and forth, the enemies that are shooting at you or throwing weapons at you can't necessarily target on you. It makes it harder for them to target you.
So it does work.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to, like further in the game, when you got a bunch of those knife throwers all aiming at you, you start jumping around, being careful not to jump into anything dangerous, you actually could see the knives go flying past where you were, and they're trying to hit you, and you're still targeting one at a time, but they're all targeting you, and they're throwing at where you were, and they're not doing like everybody always told you to do in Space Invaders, like, you should have been shooting at where I was going to be, So, they never got that down.
It's hard to shoot where you're going to be when you're just like spinning in the air. It's like Matrix jumping. It's great. I was just talking to somebody the other day though about just yesterday. I was talking to somebody about like when I play Overwatch as Diva, and when I get out of the mech suit, I just jump nonstop as if that does anything. I feel like that doesn't do anything, but I just have to do it. That's how I feel playing Tomb Raider. Just jumping all the time, knowing that it's not really helping me. It's just constantly jumping. Like I'll be in a room with no enemies and I'll just be doing backflips.
That makes sense. I mean, because it probably doesn't help at all.
And then when you climb up a ledge, Lara Croft is just like, ugh, like this is too much.
Like Venice, because Venice is broken up into 3 levels, but it was early on when you get the speedboat in the first level and you're going around. God, that took me forever to get the hang of what I was doing because I just kept getting gunned down by people. I'm like, I don't understand this game.
That was a huge.
I mean, I had to. It's a big level. Like, that's the thing about these levels. Each level, even with a guide where I'm reading what to do, it took me about an hour on average for almost most levels. There's a few that took me 2 hours, but mostly an hour.
I mean, the vehicles are a big deal. I'm sure Nikki can probably speak more to this, but the fact that you got drivable vehicles in this game was insane. Like, as a kid, hopping on, like, a speedboat or later on, like, the snowmobile, I was just like, holy shit. This is
I loved that when I was a kid. Fun to...
Oh, you want to say that again? You cut out.
No, sorry. As a kid, it was like super fun and neat to drive them, even though like there wasn't that much room. You didn't drive them that far. You're pretty much on a linear path with them. Yeah. But like it was still great. But now you go back and it's like I cannot stand this. Like I'm just crashing into walls in the corners of like every block.
There's one point where you're on the snowmobile and it's like you're going down a hallway that's about an inch wider than the snowmobile is. And you're just like pinging off each wall.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as a kid, I was like, this is the coolest shit ever. Playing out, like, why did they do this? Why? What? They couldn't have waited 3 more years.
The question I have is, why did Stu make me play this game? That was a question I had a lot this week.
The real question is, why did Claudio give up his boss and give you the idea of where to go in Venice? Because that's the only reason you go to Venice. Like, when Claudio, the assassin, kills himself, he says something like, for the fortune of Marco Bartelli. And previous to that, I don't think Laura knew who Marco Bartelli was.
No, I mean, this entire game, like, the way the story works, like, little things happen that bring her to each area.
I just love that, like he drinks cyanide so that way you can't question him, so he doesn't give up any information. But then as he's drinking the cyanide, he tells you who his boss is.
It's like in Captain America, the first Avenger. Hail Hydra, as he bites into the cyanide. But
yeah, exactly. Like, fucking don't say Hail Hydra. Don't be like, don't take the cyanide and be like, the Nazis did this. like, we didn't know until you said that, dude.
Yeah, well, maybe it was the logic that, hey, if I just give the name, it doesn't necessarily tell you where you're going to have to go. Not thinking, hey, maybe she might be able to hack my computer.
I like to think that right beforehand, Claudio's like benefits got cut or something. It's like, fuck Marco.
I like how you go to the Bartoli hideout and it's not really that impressive, but the level where you, like, I guess, fight Bartoli, or you spend a whole lot of time in an opera house at one point.
Yeah, it's like Venice, Bartoli's hideout, and then the opera house, which
I didn't understand why you're in an opera house.
Well, why is the opera house? Here's a question for you: why does the opera house have orchestra pit filled with water? Is it just because like Venice is kind of floody, or but
abandoned?
Like, there's no.
Yeah,
it's an abandoned opera house on the outskirts of Venice, and so. But then there's no like. It's like the center of the opera pit or the orchestra pit. It doesn't have a floor either. Like, it just goes under. Like, you have to swim underneath of that, under the stage, and there's like a secret and something you have to do down there. Like, you have to like flip a switch on the other side of that or something. But like, was that part of the opera house, just having an open pool in the center?
In case you want to go for a
place is
swim.
abandoned.
Go for a swim and see a
Why do
play.
you think it's abandoned? It's sinking.
It's sinking. Yeah, but there's no floor. So like, was there no floor?
It starts sinking.
The floor still. If it sinks, the floor's still there. Like they took as it was sinking, they were like, "Oh, better get rid of this floor. That'll stop the water."
And I swear, this game, like, there's a lot of swimming in this game too. Like, we'll get more into it in a little bit, but like the swimming didn't bother me in this game. Like, it's not bad somehow. The jumping's terrible. Swimming's not bad.
Not until you have to deal with the later levels.
Well, yeah, but I would say like early on, this is one of those few exceptions to that water temporal rule of like when you're underwater in this game. Generally, it's pretty easy. Like, it's pretty navigable, and it adds.
As long as you're not shooting.
As long as you're not shooting, yeah, because you do get a harpoon gun. You have to fight harpoon gun assholes underwater. But for the most part, it's pretty like garbage. It's pretty doable, and it adds definitely like another layer of puzzles to the game.
There's a lot of shit with that, but like I'm trying to think of some of the stuff I want to mention. Like in the Opera House, there was. I mean, it's mostly pretty standard, like going around, hit switches, open this door, climb up this stupid thing. I mean, it's a lot of puzzle solving in this game too. Like that, this game is full of platformy puzzles. They don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
At least this part, they didn't make any sense because you're like, I guess, an abandoned building, and you think the people who work there, who are a part of like this hideout, would have a better orchestration. Like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go to the second floor. All right, man, make sure you hit the switch on the left, and then I'll go hit the switch on the right. All right, the other guy's gonna jump up and hit that switch to bring down the ladder. It's like, what?
Yeah, puzzles
like
that just don't make any sense.
Again.
At some point in, I think it's in the oil rig. There's a puzzle where like you have to know that one of the computers is fake, and that you can open it like a door.
Don't remember this.
I think it's in the oil rig. I think it's right before the submarine section.
Could be because it was a secret. That's why he doesn't remember it.
I don't know if
you haven't noticed yet.
I skipped. I think there was a switch at the end of the hallway, so I can't remember if that. Yeah, I can't remember if that opened up a secret thing or. Oh, you know what it did?
The guide.
It opened up a hatch at the bottom of a pool.
Oh,
you could get a secret down there. So yeah, it was a secret thing.
Okay, whenever the guide said secret, my eyes went to the next paragraph. Yeah. So I never got 3 dragons. I just want to be done. I mean, I had when I started playing this game, I had it all based on I need to beat one mission every day for 13 days, and I got to beat 5 extra missions. I had the whole thing mapped out how I was playing this game. Because after I beat a level, I'd have to go for a walk or just get away because I couldn't play it 2 levels in a row because it was that exhausting playing this game.
It's a lot. It's a hefty game.
Yes, this is.
I would say
probably one of the hardest, like stressful that we played on the show. Like at least for lengthwise of the game.
Yeah, I would say it's probably like
people,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and there's some people that have done a no loads, no meds, all secrets run.
Jesus. No meds?
No meds.
Man, that sounds impossible to me.
Yeah.
It's been done. I'm actually subscribed to a Twitch channel of one guy who has done it, and he is working on doing it for Tomb Raider 3.
Jesus.
He's come close to doing it too with Tomb Raider 3.
I would say this game is like this game is like 50-50 in terms of combat and puzzles, like almost an exact split. Like,
yeah.
There is just as many puzzles as there is combat. Maybe not for Mike because he didn't do the secrets, but
no, but I did do a lot of puzzles. Oh, I do have a question though. Before in the Venice part, did anybody fight the big like mini boss at the end of the level?
You pretty much have to.
No, you don't. I ran past him and then I ran back and he deloaded.
What?
I deloaded him somehow. He wasn't there all of a sudden. I'm like, where'd he go? And he was just gone. I didn't kill him. I didn't shoot him. He deloaded on me. And then I ran to the plane.
You son of a bitch!
I tried to kill him.
The big club guy with the 2 dogs? You just skipped him?
Yeah.
What the hell?
He had like 2 big guns or something. Somehow I didn't kill him because I couldn't. I kept trying to. I kept loading. I kept dying. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to on the crates and skip him. And then when I got near the plane, it loaded the other guy. And then when I was jumping back to try to get to the plane and kill that guy, he wasn't there anymore. I don't know where he went. He just left.
He saw Laura run through the room and he was like, well, I did everything I can. Time to go home.
There's actually something to that. So the very first when you're in China, if like right before that entire cutscene happens and the guy like attacks you from out of nowhere, you have to fight a tiger right there. But you don't have to fight that tiger. If you just run straight to the door, it'll load the cutscene and go to the next level. And then the same thing is that. There's a few of the bosses, they actually gave him like a radius distance that if you get out of it, he untargets you and walks away. So it actually forces you to confront fighting that. But if you just turn around and leave, you can just go to the next level. As long as you have the key item.
So it really comes down to like Bartoli is not paying his guys nearly enough. Like they'll guard a door, but if they have to move from that door, there's like, I can't be bothered.
I want to ask one quick question for all of you here.
Yes.
Because this was something I stumbled across when I was recording the Bartoli's Hideout level. And then I had to scrap the recording because I did something stupid and it just crashed on me. But how many of you grabbed the detonation key and blew up the building at the end of the Bartoli's Hideout level to progress?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
I thought that's what you had to do.
Yeah, me too.
You can actually avoid blowing it up.
Oh, well, fuck him. I'm gonna blow it up.
I just stumbled upon it out of. I don't know if I saw the one guy do it, but I got the last secret in there. I climbed to the top. I'm like, and can I do this? And yeah, I could do it. And I'm like,
wow.
I didn't know you could do that.
It'd be great if, like, later in the game, you found a letter that was like, "Dear Lara, thank you for not blowing up my house. I appreciate if this plan does not work out, I will need to live there."
Oh, one thing that I like, and the way that you get into the, like, she goes on the plane, because that's what you're trying to do in this whole part. Like, you see a plane taking off, and the Bartoli's Hideout, she runs into the plane. Don't they hit her over the wrench or something?
Yeah. The game suddenly becomes like a slapstick comedy for a bit, where it's Claudia, it's Bartoli and Fabio.
Really?
Fabio
Is that his name?
Fabio is the name of the pilot. And they're like, it's just like
stomach.
Yeah, like Fabio, like he doesn't quite believe in the cult. He's just there for like the money, and like Bartoli is punching him in the head, the stomach, and being like, "You don't believe? Is your belief so fragile?"
Okay, I couldn't hear this. Even with the headphones in, it was coming through so weak, and there were no subtitles. Okay, 'cause I remember it, but it's gone in my memory. Like, the whole part of this game, other than me being upset, I don't remember any of this.
It comes in weak, and everyone's doing a bad Italian accent. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's just for like a brief moment. The game is total slapstick, total comedy, and then you run in, and they just hit you in the head with a wrench and knock you out. And it's like, is this the same game where I just murdered a bunch of tigers
and dinosaurs?
Yeah, well, they had to. They had to set up the other obligatory tradition they had in the first 3 Tomb Raider games. The reclaim all your weapons levels.
Oh, that happens in the other games too?
Yeah. Yes. In Tomb Raider 1, at the end of the Egypt levels, you get ambushed by Natla and some goons, and they take all of Laura's weapons. And so the next level, Natla's Mines, you are reclaiming all your weapons. You find your pistols first, and then have to beat each of the goons in turn to get the weapons back.
Remind me to never play that game.
They also do it in Uncharted and all 3 Tomb Raider remakes.
I do want to play the remake, but when you end up, like, I don't understand. Why didn't they just kill her in the offshore rig? Just shoot her.
Because they're Bond villains.
That's every game.
I mean, they just put her in a cell. I don't even lock the door. Isn't the switch to the cell door in the room? Right?
Yeah.
Yes, but it was hidden.
Yeah, it's hidden in the cell. It's like the worst escape room ever. Like, imagine going to an escape room and they're like, you have 6 hours to leave, and you just like move a box and the switch is right there. You're like, all right, I did it. I'm out.
I mean, this is almost as dumb as a Chrono Trigger when you're in the cell, and I love Chrono Trigger, but they leave him with his sword. They lock him in a cell and let him keep his sword. I mean, it's the same type of idea as like, why don't you just, and these are bad people. Shoot her. Just shoot her.
Well,
like, you have no...
but you also have to think of the other cliches. You have to think of the other cliches. you got the strong woman who's now disarmed, and you got a bunch of guys. You got a woman.
But did they expect her to talk, or did they expect her to die?
I think they forgot about it. I think they put her in a cell and forgot she was in there. We'll interrogate her later for some reason.
But it was like when you open the door, the alarm goes off, and then they run, and I think I just jump in the water and swim away or something really stupid like that.
And the alarm just continues to go off the entire time.
It was the offshore, for way too long. The offshore rig is when I started to not hate this game. I was starting to get the hang of the jumping, starting to understand the controls, starting to understand that, okay, I need to make a good 100, 200 feet between me and the guy so I can just hold down the trigger and just shoot him, and hopefully he'll be dead by the time he gets to me. And I was starting to like it. And I want to say, is the offshore rig where they introduced the flamethrower guys? Or is that in the ship? Okay. Man, that is the worst enemy in this game. Because they light you on fire, it's over. It's over. Yep. If you can't get to water, one time I saved at a very inopportune time in a hallway. He lit me on fire. I had to use 2 med packs to run from the hallway to the pool that was in the other room right across from the hallway. And that's how much damage I was taking from the fire. And I was just like, wow, I almost screwed myself.
Yep.
I did not have multiple saves at that point.
You can get the M16.
Is it? I missed some of the, like, one thing we hadn't mentioned, you can get a lot of the secret guns earlier throughout the game, but if you miss it, it'll keep reoccurring at certain points. They will try to give it to you if you still have got, like, I didn't get the grenade launcher until in Tibet somewhere. I kept missing it.
Oh, really?
I think the first grenade launcher that shows up it's
early on
level.
Yeah, I skipped all the secrets though.
So, yeah, you could have had M16 the whole time.
Yeah.
I had it. I never used it.
Everything.
I really played just like Resident Evil. I saved all my ammo as much as I could throughout this game for nothing.
Oh, I use the M16 all the time because it just
saved
takes down everything.
I kept saving all my ammo. Then I beat the game. What am I doing here?
See, something happens in my brain when I get behind like the controls of Lara Croft, where I'm just like, I'm going to fire nonstop.
Yeah,
I think that would be funny if she's just nonstop firing the gun.
Because you're very conservative with ammo and health items usually in games. I feel like.
And when I play like the remakes, I'll use the bow and arrow, and I'll never fire a fucking shot out of my pistol. But then when I play old games like this, I'm just like the entire time. It's just nonstop firing.
Yeah, well, when you have weapons that have, it's going to have limited ammo, you don't want to necessarily use the weapons that could run out of ammo, especially early on. You're going to pull you pull out them pistols that have to. That, God's sake, has.
And let's talk about the pistols for a second, because Lara Croft's pistols were not always the fucking dual-wielding USPs. For some reason, I think because of the Angelina Jolie movies, I don't say for some reason, for that reason specifically, people think that Lara Croft has always used the dual-wielded USPs. Because that actually annoyed me when the new games came out. People were like, "Oh, where's your dual-wielding pistols?" And it's like, dude, she didn't have dual-wielding USPs. In the very beginning, she had Browning high powers. They were completely different guns.
Well,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
People like when the remakes came out, they're like, "There's not even a HK USP in this game." It's like, yeah, they didn't introduce that until the Angelina Jolie movie.
I really don't know my guns. I find that out every so often on the show.
I wasn't even talking about what type of makes of guns they were, man.
I know, it's just a little thing.
It's just she never ran out of ammo.
She never did.
And given how small her backpack is, how the hell is she not running out of ammo?
Well, she keeps everything in her ponytail, because when she pulls something out of her backpack, she always pulls it out of her ponytail.
Oh, and also, this is the first game to have the ponytail. The first game didn't have it. This is the game that they brought it in.
But ponytail physics. Yeah, the ponytail actually bobbed and weaved when you ran. This game came out the same year as GoldenEye 007.
Game came out the same year of a lot of games I would rather have played than this game, by the way. I was looking through the whole list, and there's a lot. I've been like, hey.
Wow. Yeah, but what else came out in 1997?
Castlevania Symphony of Night.
Castlevania
came out
didn't have hair
on the
effects.
show in the future. All right. One thing I do want to say.
64 didn't have hair physics. Final Fantasy 7 didn't have hair physics. Take that, Final Fantasy 7. Did it?
All right.
I don't know.
But like you have like two levels where you're inside the stupid oil rig, and I do like the way that she leaves. Like I thought I was gonna be like, okay, this ain't so bad. Like I'm gonna move on to Tibet, because as I was playing this game, Richard kept talking about save the shotgun ammo for the Eddies. I'm like, okay, and I wasn't really looking at what levels are in order. I just knew that you had Venice, you had the offshore stuff, and you had Tibet, and then the other crap. But I didn't realize how fucking long they spend with the offshore. Then when you get into the sunken ship, I do like the level right before we were kind of talking about where she gets on, where she's talking to, I think she first meets her first monk, who's all beat up because they don't kill anyone in this.
That's at the end of the diving area.
Yeah, and then she gets on the wetsuit, and she's like, I think she tells him to turn the other way or something, but he doesn't, if I remember correctly.
No, she changes in front of him and throws his shoes at him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought that was a little weird. Yeah, she puts on the wetsuit in front of him, and it's like literally throws her old clothes at him, and it's just like, all right, like, he's not your servant. He's actively helping you, Laura.
I didn't understand that. Like, it was just weird. And then I do like, though, for like the rest, at least the rest of the underwater stuff, she's wearing a wetsuit, and that's kind of we had mentioned earlier, where she steals a sub or like jumps on a sub with somebody or something.
She grabs the top of the sub and is like a holding onto it.
Wouldn't you be dead? Like, I don't know much about underwater, but I do know if you're in the bottom of the ocean and you're not wearing anything, you're dead, period. Like, I don't think there's any surviving in this situation.
Well, let's see.
And
the level's called 40 Fathoms.
Yeah, and wasn't the offshore blowing up, or did she just leave it? I can't remember.
He just left.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
How many fathoms deep can a person survive? I'm going to guess 1.
40.
Yeah, not many. Sure.
Let's see.
Stay tuned.
Okay,
All right.
so most professional free divers won't go past 400 feet. Let's see how much a single fathom is. How much is... So a single fathom is... Oh, a single fathom is only 2 yards?
Learned something new on this show, guys. You weren't asking for it, but now you know.
That's very surprising to me.
All right, but that level when you're swimming in the water was like that was I was starting to I like that part. We have to like follow the barrels and swim into the ship. But what I don't understand was that the whole purpose why they were there was for the wreck of the Maria Doria?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that
these
I
guys
didn't
are already on the ship.
Yeah, I was wondering like why are these people stranded in an underwater ship? Like they were in some random ass places in a giant ship. Like that this is where like I want to say the wreck of the Maria Doria took me 3 hours to beat. I think it's because it was counting the time when I paused the game and got up and left, I think, at one point. I really played for a long time.
I feel really dumb.
That is actually like really long to go through.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 40 fathoms sounds like a lot.
Yes, it does.
It sounds really deep, right? 40 fathoms is 200 feet. A little over 200 feet.
Okay, so she can survive it.
Yeah. This level would be a lot more intimidating if it was called 240 feet deep.
But I feel like 200 feet though I guess that is a lot. I don't. Well,
that's less. It's about half of what most professional free divers feel comfortable.
But is that enough for a ship to be underwater? Isn't a ship bigger than 200 feet?
A ship can be. If a ship's like an inch underwater, it's underwater, Mike.
I know, but it's like they're far. Like they had a fucking stealth to get to the ship.
If at any point, as someone that lives near a harbor, let me just explain this to you and the entire listeners. If at any point any part of the ocean is above your ship, that's too deep. if you're an inch under it, you've got problems.
Let me ask you guys a question about that level. Did any of you notice how the ship mysteriously ends up right side up?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the ship is on its side when you're like about to hit it, and then suddenly when you're inside of it, everything is right side up. I
didn't notice that. I didn't pay attention either. I was just trying to survive the freaking sharks that they added in this level.
That sub hit it really hard.
I don't think that was the case.
I think it was.
For parts of it, it looks up from what I got. It was upside down for part of it, almost like it maybe had split in half.
Oh, so it's like a Titanic situation.
Yeah,
okay. I guess any sunken ship is like a Titanic situation.
I mean, when you look at the first two levels, like 40 Fathoms and Wreck of the Maria Doria,
it's definitely up.
Yeah, that part's upside down, and then when you get to the next parts, it looks like it must have split.
It's just in. I'm looking at two pictures of the Maria Doria, and one is upside down and one is not. So yeah, it must have split.
Okay.
And I just put up my playthrough of Wreck of the Mariadoria yesterday
I'm
on
gonna
my
say-
YouTube channel.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I really liked her wetsuit outfit too. I thought that was really cool.
I did too.
That was a neat look for her.
It wasn't like, is it
Oh,
God,
hold that thought. I know. Well, I know what you want to say. We'll talk about that later after we finish this part. But I have some. I know what you're going to say.
Okay.
So hold that thought.
Okay.
But I do want to say, with the Wreck of the Doria, did they know about the artifact they're looking for this whole time? Then.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's what-
Bartoli's and the Falema Neras did.
I mean, didn't they bring like what? I think there has to be like 50, 60 guys in this ship looking for this piece of shit.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
God the pumps in the ship worked, and also thank God the ship was airtight for some reason.
I mean,
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys are armed with a wrench. Like, we don't need guns. Just bring a wrench, man. Like, we got.
Why would they
covered.
need guns? They're underwater.
You got flamethrowers though.
Divers in that level.
Yeah, a lot of great white sharks, I guess.
There were a lot of great white sharks though.
Yeah. Let's talk about. Let's not go into underwater. Let's not go into water physics.
It's a little
PS1
Those
era.
sharks, actually, I have like a bit of a fear of open water, and so that level, getting into that ship, I was legit panicking.
I think you live in the wrong place then.
I know, I have a
That's your
fear
fear.
of open water. I live near a harbor at the beach. I've lived at the beach my entire life.
I mean,
That's why
we've
I'm
been doing
afraid.
this-
Like, I know what's out there.
I know what's out there too, but I live in Minnesota. I'm far away from the ocean. I'm good with that.
I'll go to the beach. I just don't want, like, if you threw me into the middle of the ocean, I wouldn't be happy about it.
You also probably be
I
dead.
don't think anybody who'd get thrown in the middle of the ocean would be happy about it.
No, people
Did you
fucking
not
do that
see
shit.
that
People do
terrible
that
movie,
shit,
Open
and
Water?
They're stupid and they're insane, and I hate all of them. People go out to like the middle of the ocean. They're like, "Let's go diving," and it's like, "Go to hell."
One of my favorite, like, I mean, this is one of the dumbest, like, enemy setups. There's one of the secrets, which I think I actually did grab this. Well, no, I didn't grab this one. There's one where you go to a pool inside the Wreck of the Maria Doria that's somehow upright. Who knows why? And you go in the pool, and I think there's if you walk to a certain spot, you trigger the door opens up, and there's a diver just sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah,
And I'm
He's
just,
That's on level 10, the deck.
he's just biding his time.
I just don't get it.
He
It's
heard
got-
another
that-
thing on that.
he
Lara
must
Croft-
have pissed off his boss to get stuck with that guard duty.
I mean, how
just
does
waiting
she?
behind the door, harpoon gun ready. Like,
It's so
like-
stupid.
regardless, whoever opened that door was getting a harpoon in the face. If it wasn't Lara, then it would have been like one of his fellow crewmates. Like, he was just pissed.
And shooting underwater, ridiculous. Like, I would put 10 spears into a guy before he died, and I'm like, okay, this is not. And I would watch the spears and they shoot them at you, and it would annoy me. One thing I do got to say about this game that I actually played this with headphones or music, or a lot of it was just the music on without speakers, and it does a great job of playing certain sounds before an enemy shows up. Like that, really was a nice touch.
Yeah.
It
This
helped-
game,
The music in the game is fantastic. Even just
Yeah.
the background audio
Oh, yeah.
of like the noises of the ships around you is really well.
I would say
And I-
this is the perfect balance of like music and atmosphere in the original Tomb Raider games. Because the original one, the first game was like fairly quiet, comparatively. And
I
this
do
game
got a
had a
funny-
lot more background.
funny story for that. Like when I was playing this, my father-in-law was here, and he was walking around, and all of a sudden I was trying to make a jump at one point, and I kept dying, so he just kept hearing ah, ah, ah. And he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm just playing a game. Don't worry about it." I'm just like headphones in, like we're just gonna stop.
I think it's there's like a ProZD skit where he's like he's playing some game and all the noises in there are like way over the top sexual. He's just like, I don't hear it. Oh god.
Oh, because they're
Oh,
oh
boy.
my, I died so much.
At some point it's just like, oh, you've penetrated me, and he's like, what the fuck?
Oh, this game.
A game about swords, god damn it.
All right, but what else I want? Oh, one thing, like the flamethrower guys, I hated. I wanted to say that.
Talking about that actually, what her fucking noise when she picks up a secret is so like like I imagine they told the voice actress to like make a sexy noise. Because when you pick
Yeah.
up a secret, it's like, oh.
I heard that a couple times.
Yeah, every time you pick up a secret. Oh.
Not my
Oh.
game. That's weird.
Oh.
I always thought it was.
Mhm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, we just know where Stuart mind went with the pixelated
Mm-hmm.
Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
I
I
was
think that's
thinking-
where every guy's mind went when it came to Lara Croft.
In '97, yes. In 2019, we have better. We have better.
everybody in 1997 wanted pointy boobs and
Yeah, well, remember also about 1997 was when that one patch was out there for the computer version. The Nude Raider patch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bought the computer boost back in the
day. That was like, oh god, that was like one of the like running jokes in the whole like for forever with this series after that happened too, where every game supposedly you could find there was some cheat you could put in to make Lara Croft naked. It's like that was that like the beginning of the stupid like playground cheats that your friends would tell you.
Yeah, well, probably at that time. Yeah,
it was very early.
I mean, when the Nude Raider patch became big, they combated it with the computer. They might have snuck it into the PlayStation version because people were going to try it with the quote nude code, which I had told Mike to try it. I told him to try it and tell you guys to try it. I didn't tell him what it was going to do, so he obviously looked it up or found out about it.
I was reading other codes, and I'm like, and I saw there was a code from like, yep, I bet that's the code he's been trying to get me to do.
What does it do?
She blows up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I did
funny.
Myself just for giggles.
That's really funny. I like when devs find funny ways to be like, fuck you.
That's their way of trolling people. And Eidos, they bought up or bought up the rights for the Nude Raider website just so they could shut it down.
That's really funny.
That happens though.
And
it's always great when like devs have wacky ways of battling shit like that.
Speaking of that, I know a guy who wants to buy a website just to shut it down.
Yes. I'm not going to mention it here because if I mention it on the podcast, everyone will go to it and the price will go up. But there's a website I have found that is like straight out of the 1990s, like early 1990s. It actually doesn't meet like code now because it absolutely will give you a seizure.
I'm glad he knew exactly where I was going with this.
Oh no, I've been telling I've talked to other web designers and showed them this fucking website. I'm just like, look at this horrible thing. It's like the flashing like pictures in the back and like they used every animated GIF they could find in 1998, and they're still updating it. It's still being updated today. Mike has opened a whole box of worms with me.
Yeah,
this fucking website.
Is this from the GeoCities era?
Yes.
For sure.
Oh my god! I don't want to know where it is. I don't want to be tempted to look at it. And I'm dealing with my own issues. I don't need to further them along or anything like that right now.
This is a pre-MySpace website that I want to own, and I don't know if I want to destroy it or if I need to like keep it out of posterity. Like it should belong, like so people know how far we've come.
One thing. I mean, I don't remember this. How do you end up in Tibet after you find this artifact that the 60 other fools can't find? Is there a cutscene or something?
There's a cutscene. Once it's grabbing the item, I think she somehow gets an inflatable raft, rides it up to the surface, gets to the rig, steals a plane, and flies off to Tibet.
Okay.
And of course, it runs out of fuel, and she has to crash land in Tibet.
Okay, so that's why the first level in Tibet is you run around in the snow.
Yeah.
Actually, this was a good level. Tibetan foothills was a. This is when I was really starting to change. Like I was like, oh, I don't hate this game anymore. Stuart's still an asshole for putting this on the show, but I don't hate this as much.
I like that you find a couple snow leopards in that area, and it's like
animals.
It's just the tigers reskin. But I'll give them credit.
I liked it. I mean, I thought I didn't have a problem fighting them. Like to me, it was really cool that it had the snow leopards, and Tibet was fun. Like they had a decent amount of enemies. There weren't too many. You get the snowmobile, which you mentioned earlier, which I didn't mind the way it handled. Just one thing I had noticed is like we're so used to Grand Theft Auto and triangle to get off something that doesn't work in this game. You had to like hold down, jump, and press left to get off something. I think
it's very odd.
So at least I did.
But yeah, I did something similar.
Okay,
Like
It-
theme. Very
It
odd.
it wasn't bad. Like, I like the snowmobile. You can do a lot of jumps and you could boost it. Like, I actually really enjoyed the Tibetan foothills. I mean, you fight a few guys here and there, and you fight the snow leopard, but it was never. I never felt overwhelmed as I did in other parts of this game. I was comfortable with the amount of enemies I was fighting.
Well,
So the
I just was.
how do you feel about 2 levels later in the catacombs when suddenly you're fighting fucking yetis?
We'll get to that. But I did like a lot of the puzzles with the snowmobiles where they had you jump off things and jump up, and I really did like that.
I think
thought
you're
that
also. This is when you get like that classic bomber jacket, Laura, too.
Oh yes, yeah, thank
That was
you. I
not a
almost
good
forgot.
look for her.
What
Yeah.
the heck? Like, that's the part where that was the dumbest like outfit. Like, I like the jacket, but she's still wearing the short shorts.
Yeah, she
It's
still has
Tibet.
shorts.
Like, you think she
Yeah, that
could
was a
put on a pair of
downside.
pants?
Yeah, the outfit makes more sense in Rise of the Tomb Raider when she's wearing pants with it, but it's
I'm like, I mean, I understand, but I'm like, still, really, you couldn't have put pants on her for some reason? Like, they just couldn't do it?
They didn't want to the rest of her legs.
she's always moving, so she doesn't have to worry about her legs getting cold. She's always like jumping and running.
I mean,
It would just-
I understand.
Pants would just slow her down, Mike. She's a woman with a go.
You give her a jacket, but you don't give her any pants.
Yeah.
I live in Minnesota. If I went out with no pants in the cold weather, I'd be a little dead. Like, I mean, I won't be okay. That's all I got to say. But this was a great level.
Yes.
The foothill's awesome. And then the Barkhane Monastery, the best level of the game.
I might be with you on that one.
That was a fun
Unless you're
level.
stupid. Unless you're stupid as
Unless
hell
you're-
and you shoot the monk. And it won't be so fun.
Yeah,
Did any
don't
of us
shoot him.
Okay, yeah, I was reading. I did shoot him once just to see what would happen, but then as the spears got pointed towards me, I hit load real fast.
I didn't shoot him. What happens?
They turn. If you shoot one, they all turn on you.
Oh, really?
I
I
think
like
they
their,
give you a leeway of maybe one shot if you
You can
correct
only-
yourself,
You
but
can only shoot one monk once, and they're like, "Hey,
What?
because
Like
don't do that again."
in that level, they kill the bad guys for you. They kill Bartoli's henchmen, and there's a lot of parts in that game where you start hearing fighting. You go, "Oh, I'm just gonna stand here in the back and just wait until whoever's alive, and I'll just kill if there's any left." And they do a really good job with their spears killing them. Like they're really good at it.
I love the look of the Barking monk. They got that like the snow leopard, like skin vest over top of a shirt. Like something about their look, I just really dig.
They were cool. They were
With
really
that
cool.
like orange armbands and belts and the red parachute pants.
They were it was just a fun level, and it made sense. It made sense with the puzzles you were doing. You had to get a lot of freaking items in that level though. Like I will say that, like, that would have been a bitch if I didn't have a guide. I would have easily have missed one of the prayer beads and not been able to get through the final door easily, because you had to do some complicated stuff. But I do love the fact that you have other enemies fighting your enemies for you for big chunks of the game, or big chunks of this level.
Yeah.
That was cool.
the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Which is the story of
They
every Tomb Raider game.
like they don't even care what you're doing in their temple. They don't care that you're trying to get their treasure. I think you're trying to you're trying to unlock a catacomb to do something, but they don't even care. Like, none of that matters to them.
You got to go kill other Yetis, and they're like, "Hey, we like those Yetis."
That's later. They don't know about the Yetis. Aren't here yet. That's next level.
Surely they know about the Yetis. They have to know about the Yetis.
Well,
Well, the
Are they-
Tibetan monks did hold Yetis in the Tibetan monks did hold Yetis in high revere.
I might not cut that
In
out.
real life, really?
Yeah,
That
but-
would mean the Yetis are real.
Wait to see how great would it be if, like, the way we found out about Yetis was we just saw a picture of like the Dalai Lama with his arm around a Yeti giggling. That's how we all learn. About it.
there was only one part of that level I hated.
What'd you say, Nikki?
I said at that point I'd have to question him about where the T-Rex is.
Yeah, got a fair point.
There's always a part of me-
Lama will be controlling the world, riding his T-Rex with his Yeti army.
I always wonder if Yeti. I mean, I could believe Yetis could be real. Like,
I really like cryptozoology. I don't. Yetis are like Yetis and Sasquatches and stuff. They're like probably like the most realistic. Of all, like,
I mean, it's
cryptids.
one of those things where when you do hear about cryptozoology, it's always the one that, like, oh, it could be. Like, it's. I mean, I don't think it is. I feel like we would have ran into, I mean, unless it's like a freak case where there's very, very few of these creatures. But I've always kind of been like, yeah, it could be. I could see it.
It's certainly more likely than like the Loch Ness Monster or the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, well, Loch Ness Monster was a guy who did a prank and it went way too far.
And the Jersey Devil is just Jersey. It's just the result of living in Jersey. Start seeing things.
It's a mix between is it something real or is it something Ben Franklin made up to poke fun at a rival?
Yeah. What always confused me is like Jersey Devil and the Mothman. Those shouldn't be cryptids in my mind because those are like supernatural beings.
Mothman is a very interesting idea, though.
It is, but he's like supernatural. He's not a cryptid.
Yeah, no, he's not a creature. He's a kind of like a figure or a person or or a demon of some kind of supernatural being. Yeah. Like there's a really good movie called Mothman Prophecy.
Well, there's a movie.
Hey.
Seen the movie, read the book.
I didn't read the book. I seen the movie. Creeped the hell out of me. But okay, back to Tomb Raider 2.
Anyway, let's talk about the next hour of this podcast. We're going to be talking about chupacabras.
That reminds me of Shadow Hearts 3.
And that one movie where the guy from Chips ran over a bunch of them with a motorcycle.
Okay, but when you get into the catacombs, because as I was playing this game, Richard kept talking about the Yetis. Oh, there's two shotgun shots, shotgun shots. Shotgun shots.
Yeah, that's what we call it down here in the South. Shotgun shots.
And when I finally
shotgun shots take down them Sam Scratches.
When I finally got to the Yetis, I was like, it's a Yeti! Then it punched me in the face, and I was like, okay, load. But I like fighting the Yetis. I used a shotgun a lot on the Yetis, but I liked them. I didn't have a problem with them in the game. I thought they were cool in that level. Like, they're in a lot of cages. Whoever was in this place, because I don't think you see any monks down here, do you? I want to say.
No, I didn't see any down there.
Okay, yeah. There's like, who the hell captured all these Yetis, and what are they eating? That was my big question.
Maybe the other Yetis captured.
Yeah, that could work.
Or there's like a better Yeti somewhere that.
Well, there is a better Yeti somewhere, which we'll mention. A little later.
Actually, in another game, there are in Tomb Raider Underworld, there are Yeti thralls, which is a whole thing. In Tomb Raider Underworld, they kind of like these games are goofy, but Underworld throws the idea of realism completely out the window, where like you literally get Thor's hammer at some point, and you're killing like Yeti thralls with Thor's hammer.
Why did we play that game?
Because it's bad.
You get to be Thor and Laura at the same time. You get to be female Thor.
Thor.
Before Marvel came up with the idea.
No, they came up with the idea way before.
Thor.
What if? It's an early What If in the 80s, I want to say. It's the first appearance of female Thor.
Oh, okay. What if Thor was a lady Thor?
What if Jane Foster was Thor? Is the book. I've seen it. Yeah. It wasn't worth a lot of money. It is now. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's worth a shitload of money now, isn't it? Yeah,
I own because it's considered the first appearance of Jane Foster as Thor now, even though it's a What If book and nobody cared. Same as Spectacular Spider-Ham was a book that nobody cared about. And I saw it many times, like $1, and I never bought, or like $5, never bought it. Now it's like an $8 book.
So. And look what fucking Marvel's doing now. I'm gonna say I fucking called it. Marvel's just doing all their What If storylines. I said for years, no one believed me.
Jane Foster actually does become Thor later in the comics, when Thor becomes unworthy.
Okay, who becomes Thor in the new movies, because I don't know if any of their contracts have been signed yet.
I can go a lot farther in Marvel than I'm going to on this episode. But I didn't mind the catacomb, but it was a little like, and I know the catacomb leading the Ice Palace, and I don't really remember the Ice Palace very well, but I want to say you don't fight any of Bertoldi's thugs down here, do you? In this place?
I think it's Yetis. You fight Yetis, snow leopards. You do fight some Fiamanera. And you fight catfish.
That made no sense when you have like the bear. They reused that same skin like 3 times. The barracuda fish.
Yeah,
that was stupid.
It's not a barracuda because it
wasn't a Demores.
I have no idea what that is.
A moray? It's a moray.
More. Is it when the moon hits your eye like a big piece of
Those damn big eels that were in the.
Oh yeah, those are annoying.
Eels have also been a running theme in Tomb Raider. They like their eels. They like their tigers. They like their bears. Oh my!
Good one.
Oh
The eels reminded me of Mario 60.
yeah, it's a big dumb eel. Every time I see an eel in a game, I can
That last one, yeah, I could see that.
every eel in a game. All I can think of is the big dumb eels from Majora's Mask that like come out of the caves to bite you.
Oh, that where you get the heart piece in the bottle or something, right?
Yeah, they just have the big stupid face. You have to go get the Zora eggs, I think, from that area. Just like,
See more. Listen to episode 27 of games my mom found.
yeah, we talk about the dumb worry eels. I'm sure I say the same exact thing. I
I can't
sure
remember,
I call them the
but
big stupid face eels.
I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, okay.
Back to the catacombs in the Ice Palace.
Yes, I was okay. So throughout playing the Ice Palace, Richard had been talking about a stupid chicken. I'm like, what the hell is a big giant chicken going to be doing? And I didn't. I was like, I was very confused. And then I'm playing, and even in the guide said, watch out for the big chicken. So I'm expecting a giant chicken. What I got was a chicken that went to the gym for the last 10 years. That's what I got. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell? And then I see him as this giant buff-looking Yeti that's huge with a chicken beak.
It's like a chimera thing. But
it's terrible.
Really, just imagine like whatever imagine like a swole eagle walking out to the America song from Team America World Police, because that's basically what this thing is. It's a big ass swole eagle, and every time it walks out, it's like America.
I was trying to glitch this fight, but I couldn't get it to glitch. You can jump down, jump up, and then shoot him, and he can't hit you. But every time you jump up, he just runs the other side of the room and won't come back.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't have that much issue with him running, so I just kept jumping around him.
I just kept backing up and shooting him, and it took a while, but I killed him. Because again, I was conserving all my ammo for what? I don't know. I was just conserving it. So that was
the battle. I said, "This is my Uzis. Meet my Uzis."
I didn't use anything really. I just kept saving my ammo. I had like 3,000 Uzi rounds at one point, and I still had them when I beat the game, by the way. So,
and you weren't grabbing the secrets?
No, I wasn't. I just used the handgun so much in this game. I would find ways to kill someone with the handgun and either not get hurt or just use a med pack and save the ammo. I kept saving them for later levels, and then I ran out of levels.
So for our audience's sake, once you get to the Tibetan temple, the monastery, this is where the game is just like, fuck it. We're gonna have Yetis. We're gonna have giant chicken people.
Just one.
Just the one. And we're not gonna explain anything about them. We're not gonna tell you why yet. We're not even gonna have you react to the fact that Yetis are real or there's this giant eagle chimera.
There's not a lot of lore in this game. Like, there's nothing to pick up. There's nothing to read. There's a couple cutscenes, a couple of voiceovers that are hard to hear. There's not a lot of it doesn't give you a lot of story.
It makes me want to go play the new games and not pick up any notes to see how little story I get without reading anything. To see if I like.
Easily put the Tomb Raider reboot on the show, and instead of this,
I could have, but I didn't.
I've noticed. I learned.
Maybe
I was really worried. Like, that's one reason why I made sure to say PS1 right before I started playing this for the show. I just want to make sure you meant this one and not the reboot one. I was like, I'm gonna just double check he meant Tomb Raider 2 for PS1.
It would be funny if everybody else played Rise and I played this old game. Like, these guys say this game is great. I thought it was really hard.
Oh, it is really hard. I mean, that's one thing that we cannot stress enough in this game. Even it is very difficult because, I mean, like, the jumps are very spot on. There's a lot of them where if you don't have it lined up just right or the timing's off, you're going to get hurt. You're going to die. And I think you can even screw yourself if you use too many med packs. There's certain parts in this game you have to get hurt in order to get through it, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong.
Significantly less giant swole chickens in the new games, which is disappointing.
I'm okay with that.
100% less.
I never need to see another chicken that looks like the Hulk ever again in my life. I'm okay.
Yeah, Nice Palace was the first of 2 levels with the damn springboards in it.
Oh my god. Yeah. Fucking Christ.
That was hell. And then you would jump up, she would spring up, but you missed your jump, she falls down, and she looks like she's a marionette doll and just crumbles in pieces and screams.
Yep.
A lot of screaming went on in this game.
Is it one of the secrets, or there's like a guy at a door you have to keep jumping and shooting him, and it's just so annoying. Like,
yeah,
I don't
you
know
gotta shoot that one bell.
Yeah, it's a
Yep, that's not a
right.
secret.
That's not a secret.
not
Okay.
a secret. That
That's
is,
just-
you had to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to jump up,
that's-
shoot bells, and land and grab it.
Ugh.
Okay, there's a couple parts of the game you have to jump across, backflip, jump again, backflip, jump again. Like I actually got the hang of the controls by the end of this game, like really freaking good. You have to jump on something, jump over, hold down X, grab the ledge, pull up, jump off. Like it gets very complicated with the controls. It was a lot at certain points. But I did like the supernatural aspect that they had near the end of this game that kind of keeps continuing. Like it reminded me, spoilers for Uncharted. It reminded me of the Uncharted series where you always have a little bit of supernatural near the end of the game, at least in the first one and the first two for sure.
Well, that
Three.
came from Tomb Raider. That was
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
'Cause this-
Uncharted
you can
was like,
tell-
it's kind of weird because Tomb Raider was
Uncharted's
like,
better.
we want to make an Indiana Jones game. Oh, we don't have access to Indiana Jones's license. We'll make our own character that's basically like Indiana Jones.
But it's a girl.
And then from Tomb Raider, they were like, oh, we want to make our own Tomb Raider. We'll call it Uncharted, and we'll have Nathan Drake be the protagonist. And then the new Tomb Raiders came out, and they're like, hold my beer, Uncharted. We're gonna make your games, but better.
There's also a really good Indiana Jones game that plays like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, they all just like copy each other. It's this very strict genre that just is like they're all just like taking from each other.
I think it's called Emperor's Tomb or something. It's for Xbox in that era.
Yeah.
I really want to play it on the
Is
show.
that the
by
one where
way.
you jump on people's faces as Indiana Jones?
I don't remember, but I know you can whip and swing, and I beat it on regular Xbox
Yeah.
a long time ago.
I think it is. You like there's a move where you can like jump on people's face and like I don't know what you do. It's just a really weird animation. You like hop on them and it's like you're holding onto their head with like your knees wrapped around their shoulders. It's just like you pop off and they're dead. I don't know what he does,
I
but
don't
it's
remember
really
this,
funny
but-
animation.
Okay. Well, one thing, like after you kill that, right before you kill the big chicken monster, I know you grab a talon or you grab some, I guess you call it a talon, but is that what I think that's the whole purpose of what she was doing in Tibet
Yeah.
was to get this item. Okay.
Yeah,
And
you
then
had to get
after
the
you
Talon,
kill,
and the giant chicken thing is called the Guardian of the Talon.
yeah, and he wakes up after you grab it, then you got to kill him, then the level ends, and then you go back to China.
It's not a Talon. It's a like Talion.
Eh,
Tal.
Italian, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like
and
it's not
you
like a
go
talon
back-
like you would get off a bird. Even though we're talking about giant chicken bird things, it's not a bird talon. It's Italian, which is like a whole like it's like a like Chinese wallet type thing. The old Chinese wallet, where it's just like the thing they would hook on their belts.
Did this tell her where to go in China? Because then right after this, you go to the Temple of Zion or Zion, wherever the hell it is.
You basically go back through the Great
Yes.
Wall into that door to open it.
Okay. Okay. Wow, I did not pay enough attention.
The place
I'm
where
okay
where Claudio killed himself. It'd be great if Claudio's body was still there.
That was like one of the silliest like B movie scenes ever. She's walking towards the dagger, and she's just walking. All of a sudden, the floor goes out, which I knew was happening because I read the guide.
Yeah.
It's also one of those scenes where you're just like you feel like it's gonna happen. You're like
Oh.
something.
Surprised the hell out of me the first time I played it.
I was like, this is an Indiana Jones moment. This is taking the thing off the pedestal and something like either a boulder is going to come out or the floor is going to collapse and I'm going to have to run.
There were boulders in this game. A lot of them in this game. We had to run from them throughout the game.
Yeah, why would they have so many boulders in their own damn monastery, too?
It's like an ancient Barkang tradition is you get boulders and you put them up somewhere high and you don't secure them. You just trust that they will be there. You leave and you just let them be. And it's like a trust exercise with whatever god they believe in.
That's how you know this wasn't California.
Barkang.
They wouldn't have been there.
I don't know. They never explain the Barkang religion. They're just like a group of people. Maybe I think do they worship the dragon?
I'm assuming.
Let's say
Or
they
no, it had
worship
something to
the
do with the
dragon.
dagger. It had something to do with that dagger, I want to say, for the Temple of Zion.
Possibly they were trying to keep the dagger from being claimed.
That didn't work out so well.
Yeah. Good job,
Yeah.
assholes.
When they seal it off.
I'll tell you
Okay.
what, the Temple of Zion, that is when it was the hardest level for me.
Yep. It's hard level in the game. It took me 2 hours to beat that level with a guide. And I
It took
don't
me
think that
over 3.
it's fucking long.
When I first played the game and got to that level, I got a good way through it, and then I got to those damn spiders.
Fucking spiders.
Are you
Ugh.
scared of spiders then?
I
take
have I have a bit of arachnophobia.
Okay.
I
Don't
mean,
ever
I
play
get
Dragon
him-
Age.
I can handle. I mean, I had a hard time playing the Resident Evil remake.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair,
And-
those are big spiders in that. They look very realistic.
Yeah, and I managed to get through. I mean, I knew they were coming, but I had a hard time with this one. I mean, when I first played this many years ago on a Windows 95 computer, I literally used the level skip cheat when I was first facing that. So when I got to that part in the game and I was recording it, I'm like, I'm not skipping it. I'm going to get through this level. I am not going to. And then got surprised when I hit the 2-hour mark and found that the recording cut off. And that was just at the end of the level. But I mean, like, I was going to make it through it or I was never going to do it again.
Are you
And they
are you
also-
the kind of person who like you have to install the arachnophobia mod when you play Skyrim to get rid of all the spiders in it?
I've never played
Oh.
played Skyrim, so
Because I always surprise me because the spiders in Skyrim I don't think look very realistic, so they never bothered me. But there was a mod for Oblivion that had Black Widow spiders, and you fight them in the dark, and you can barely see them, and that scared the shit out of me.
yeah, I think that would be the case. I mean, I knew these things were going to show up, and I even told Mike, there's about like 3 size spiders in the game: small, normal, and oh hell no.
I like how they get smaller and smaller as the games go on too. Like Shadow of Tomb Raider, they're like little tiny spiders under rocks. I think in like the Relic game, they're really tiny, at least comparatively on the screen.
They were only for a small part in this game, though. I felt like they wasn't for
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Yeah, there's just at some point there's a lot of them on them.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah,
got-
they don't never play Penumbra Overture. Then, by the way.
Yeah.
Probably won't.
Yeah, a lot of fucking spiders.
Yeah.
Similarly, I can't play Stranded Deep because open water.
Why do you live next to the ocean?
I don't go into the ocean. I don't have to be I don't work in the middle of the Atlantic.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Surprisingly for my job, I get to stay on shore most of the time.
I mean, and the lava made me laugh too. Like in this game, they took the water, they made it red, and has the same exact physics. Like she falls in it just like she jumped in the water, but her health just vanishes in a second.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a lot better than the lava in the first game.
I never played the first game.
My favorite is when the lava is on the ceiling and the water is on the ground, and it's just
No sense.
yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah. I mean, they did some
Well, that's
really
floating
annoying jumps
islands.
too.
Oh, yeah, I did the floating islands. Yeah, I guess it's a good point. You aren't really in like reality anymore.
That's true. You got your
Yeti.
Yeti.
Is that so? In the end of the Temple of Zion level, because he gets the dagger, and that's when he plunges the dagger into himself, like in the
Yeah.
opening cutscene. Okay, and that the floating islands are what was created by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he opens a gate to the final level of Half-Life, and you have to go there and help Gordon Freeman take out the dragon.
That was funny.
Zin, that's what it's called.
I got that reference, even
I
though
got that
I've never played Half-Life that far. But I got that reference.
It's the exact same as Half-Life. Yeah, you get to the end of the game, and suddenly you're in a floating island end world, and you have to kill
Okay.
this giant supernatural being.
I can't be the only one that thought I was in the Wizard of Oz when I saw the floating, like, weird guardians just coming towards me from far away. That's what I thought of. I was thinking of Wizard of Oz monkeys, and they're just standing there holding the sword, just floating towards me, and I would just, these guardians were a bitch to fight, though, too.
They were.
I mean,
Unless-
I know there's a trick you can blow them up with the grenades before they activate, which I was saving the grenades. Why? No real reason, to be honest, I found out.
Ironically enough, that trick doesn't work on the computer.
That doesn't
Really?
work. Huh.
It doesn't work on the computer. No,
Oh.
I tried it. It didn't work.
I really liked the CN Warriors in this, though. I thought they were really cool.
They were cool. They were bullet sponges. And
They were.
one thing they
everything
do
is
if
a
you,
bullet sponge.
yeah, that is true. Like, if they kill you with the spears, they throw her up in the air. If they get the last hit with the spears, and they'll throw her up in the air above the spears, like almost hold her on it. It looked like before I hit load.
I like the ones that have the
Yeah.
giant swords.
They did a lot of damage though.
They have like the Buster sword from Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 7, yeah, it was
Yeah.
close to it.
They
At least
do a
they
lot
made
of
sense.
damage.
They had
And-
muscles and they were big. They weren't a little
Yeah.
guy with a ball for a hand. Okay,
I
so it
guess,
made
like,
more sense.
Look, if you're in the Lara Croft Tomb Raider universe and you get stuck in an alternate reality, what are you gonna do? You're gonna get swole. That's all you can do. You're gonna lift. You're stuck in an alternate reality with giant boulders. You're gonna have to learn how to lift. them.
Oh, And there were some super tough jumps in the floating islands too.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh
There were
yeah.
some really tough.
I was
mean,
saving after like every jump.
yeah, I think you're supposed to. I mean, you're up in the air the whole time. It was it. I mean, it was testing me. Like I beat Temple of Zion and Floating Islands and the rest of the game all in one night. Well, Temple of Zion took me like all day, but I finished. Once at that point, I was just like, I was done. I was like, I need to beat this game and be done with it. I don't have to play it again. But I want to say the Floating Island did have the Bartoli thugs. They come back again. And they come back where you also have to fight the Guardians and the Bartoli thugs. And there's one really shitty room where you drop into this room, and there's like 6 of the Guardians and like 4 or 5 Bartoli thugs. And I just stood there, 8 med packs, and just unloaded the Uzis into them. Because if you walk too far, it would start activating all the Guardians. Yeah. And that was miserable.
See, that's where you best strategy is you drop the cage and you just jump around that central area there that cage had closed and just shoot the guys while they're trying to throw their knives at you. And as you're jumping, they're throwing them at you, but they're aiming where you were, so they keep missing you.
I couldn't do it. I was never good at any of that jumping in this game. Like I said, I didn't learn how to roll until very near the end of the game. I realized, roll is like a 360 turn. Oh,
yeah,
way
you need
too
that
late.
roll. Yeah, and you need that roll to climb up some of those ladders too.
That's how I learned it, by the way, because you had to climb up a ladder, jump off a ladder, hit the roll button so she turns around before you hit the ladder on the other side. Like, it was ridiculous. It was. I mean, that was not nice.
Is it time to talk about Bartoli's plan?
Sure. We're near the end.
Yeah. So at this point in the game, you've come across you're fighting Bartoli to get the dagger. Bartoli gets it, stabs himself, he's carried off, and the next time you see him, Bartoli is a dragon.
Yeah.
And you're fighting his henchmen and these ancient like warriors frozen in another reality, and Bartoli's just the dragon in that reality. But is that his end game? Is just to be a dragon in a different reality, like a different dimension?
Well, the dragon could come back to our reality.
Yeah, but I mean, like an F-22, I feel like could still take out a dragon. Like at the end of the day, a dragon is a flesh and blood creature.
Well, not this dragon.
The only thing that kills the dragon is removing that dagger.
Yeah, but if you hit that dragon with like a fucking predator missile, then surely the dagger would fly out. Like his end game is to just be the dragon. I guess to take over the world as the dragon.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like a very roundabout way to take over the world. It's like, yes, now I'm the dragon.
Yeah, well, we didn't stand much of a chance in that movie Reign of Fire, did we?
Well, there were a lot of dragons in Reign of Fire. Bartoli is one dragon.
It's also a shitty movie.
That movie's great.
I saw it in theaters.
Oh, we're going to fight over this now.
Isn't that what we do in this podcast?
I haven't seen the movie. I just know the lore.
It's okay. You don't need to. But hey, it was filmed in
At the end of the day, you might control the world, but you're still stuck as a dragon. Maybe I'm not seeing the benefit
An
of being
immortal
a dragon.
dragon.
Yeah.
An immortal dragon.
When you fight the dragon, I actually okay. So when I was fighting, I blew it up. I went in the water to go get more ammo, and then I realized he wakes back up.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I was not happy, and then I killed him a second time, and I had to save and load about 4 times because she would not grab the dagger out of his belly. She just wouldn't do it. I'd walk up, hit the button, nothing. I even had to watch a video to see what the other guy did, and I'm like, I'm doing this, and I kept doing it, and finally it just worked. So yeah.
Classic PS1 jank.
Yep.
I like how if you took a long time to get to the end of this game and you like forgot that initial cutscene, I cannot imagine how long it would take somebody to realize, oh, I've got to take the dagger out of the dragon's stomach.
Which I'm sure happened because you think about it, I mean, this is a long game. Like this game took me 20 hours to beat it, and I would have never beat it in 2 weeks unless I had to for this podcast. And I was a kid, I could have seen this game lasting me months. I'm sure it did for people who played it when it first came out, like Nikki. I mean, chances are you're not going to remember the first cutscene anymore.
Yeah, it literally took me 2 years, I think, to beat it because I was stuck in an earlier level of just like jumping over the the snowballs in the Tibetan level that roll at you. I could not get that jump down, and I died there forever. So finally, I broke down, and I went to, I want to say it was like Walmart or something back then, and I I bought a Game Shark just for infinite health, so I could eat damage and not die. I was able to beat it when I was younger.
Oh, hey, I barely beat it as an adult. Don't feel bad. This game is hard.
Is there a way we can play this with a Game Shark now?
Yes.
I want to point out that
Yes, there is.
when I initially looked up how long this game took to beat, what I saw was somebody saying, "Oh, it only takes about like 9 hours," and I was like, "Oh, that's not that bad."
19 or 18.
Not realizing that 9 hours is like if you've played this game several times before and you know everything about it. That's a 9-hour game. Going into this like blind or after years of not playing it, this is like a 20-hour game for easy.
Yeah, if not more.
I could see somebody spending up to 30 or 40 hours in this game just exploring. Like if you're not good at puzzles, this game's going to take you a long ass time.
Yeah.
Honestly, even if you're just like unlucky with puzzles, because a lot of it is like trial and error, and if you're just unlucky and you're not doing the right thing, it's going to take you a long time to navigate where you need to go and what you need to do. So many puzzles are like, oh, we've hidden this puzzle behind this random painting.
I mean, there's so many things that I feel like I never would have figured out if it wasn't for me reading a guy that told me what to do. Because there's just so many strange things.
You know what this,
I was just looking at my playtime since I got it off GOG, and my total playtime of the game. Now this probably includes redoing levels because of mistakes made, and reloads and that. Total time of 24 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
And that was also, remember, I played it before. And I've beaten it before. Now, of course, one level I used the level skip cheat to get past before.
Which one was that again?
The Temple of Zion, because damn spiders.
Okay, makes sense. In general, it makes sense. That level is horrid.
Yeah, so...
I just don't understand the plan.
I just don't understand why you made us play this.
I'm a dragon.
Don't understand.
I'm an immortal dragon.
We haven't addressed the final level yet.
Oh yeah, this game has a after credit scene.
Well,
epilogue level.
Yeah, which I was saving all my ammo for. I was very, very unhappy when I found out that she has no ammo and no weapon. Everything I saved meant nothing. Yep. And she had another outfit change. She's wearing a nightgown now.
I was gonna say she doesn't even have clothing at this point.
She's a nightgown.
She has like a nightie on, like a robe.
Can I tell a story about that real quick?
Yeah, please.
Go ahead.
So back in the day, I don't know, like who knows or remembers this, but if you took PlayStation games and put them in like a stereo or your CD player, you could just listen to the audio files off of it.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I remember doing that, and you get to the one where you hear, the very end where she's taking the shower and everything before she shoots the screen. And I was like, wait, what is that? I have to find out whatever this is. And then I started to look on the internet, and you see things like, oh, the Tomb Raider, like nude codes and things like that. So that further led me into like, oh, I got to play this game. She's naked in it somewhere, even though that's not the case at all.
No.
It is very like tongue in cheek. Yeah, you have to kill all the parts, like the rest of the Bartoli guys have tracked you down in your mansion. Yeah, and you've got to kill them all. And then while your mansion is filled with like the bloody corpses of the Bartoli mafia, you're like, I'll take a shower before I call the cops.
And then as she's about to take the shower, I think she virtually to the camera and she says something, I couldn't hear it.
Don't you think you've seen enough?
Yep. Okay, and then I couldn't understand it. And then she shoots the camera.
She shoots the camera, which, to be fair, that's a clever way to end it.
Like, and it's the last trolling to the people who just want to see Laura naked.
Yeah.
But that's another thing, too. After you defeated their boss as a giant immortal dragon, why do they still come and attack you at your place? Like, clearly they can't take you on by now, right?
Well, she was ready for the dragon. They had to wait for her to be, like, about to take a shower. They're like, oh, surely she won't be ready for that now.
Well, I mean, she was ready for that, too. She had a cupboard stocked with, like, 800 pounds of shotgun ammo.
Her shotgun. I keep my shotgun cabinet right next to my shower just in case. The best time to be grabbing blindly for a shotgun is when you're wet and you're not wearing your glasses. You can't see, and you don't know where the floor mat is.
That was actually pretty funny.
The butler in the freezer, right?
Yeah.
I never did.
What?
No, I never did. I didn't know you could until I was reading other people's comments about it.
Yeah, and apparently you can lock the final boss in the freezer too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, does he die?
No.
No, nothing happens. They're just stuck there. You hear them groaning against the door, but
Well, I was a little surprised when I walked around the corner. I did find the big boss guy and shot the hell and finished him with a shotgun. But cool.
Poor Winston. Winston used to be so fat and short.
That's a butler.
Yeah, it's the butler.
Okay. I haven't seen the movies and any of that in a very long time.
I think is it the third game where he basically looks like a little goblin?
I have no. I'd have to relook at that. Oh.
I think it's in the third game where he's just so short and fat. He's like bringing you something, and I always see a screenshot of it. And he looks like a little goblin to me. Like he doesn't look human. He's like 3 feet tall, hunched over. Looks like Igor.
Yeah, well, let's face it. The butler, Hillary in the Angelina Jolie movies is a lot better looking than Winston is. Although
I have no recollection of what you're talking about.
You've never seen the movies?
I have, but I was much younger.
Yeah, Hillary in the movies was like less Igor and more like discount Colin Firth.
Isn't there a robot or something she fights in the movies too?
Yeah, it's actually her training.
Okay.
Droid.
Okay, I remember that. I remember James Bond is in the first movie. That's all I remember.
Yes, that is true.
Before he became James Bond.
Yeah, Daniel Craig is doing a very bad American accent in the first movie. It's like, "Hey, how you doing, Lara?" Like that's how it sounds.
You should do that movie on the show.
It's so.
Oh, he was the male equivalent.
Yeah, he was like the romantic love interest.
They hired him or something. I don't remember much.
Who was?
Oh my God! That scene with him, that one scene with him gave me one hell of a laugh when I saw it in the theaters.
Who was it? It wasn't Gerard Butler in the second one, was it?
I saw the second one once in theaters.
To look that up. It's been years since I watched it.
I think
I was saying to my daughter the other day, I have to watch those with her. I mean, let's face it, Lara Croft is a good, in some ways, is a good female role model. It's a strong female role model.
Funny enough, in this game, I don't know. Was it in 3 when they felt like they had to introduce like a love interest for her? In the first and second game, she didn't have a love interest. She didn't
have a love interest in the third one, as far as I could tell.
At some point, they tried to introduce a love interest.
I think that was an Angel of Darkness, from what I've heard.
Was it really that late in the series?
That's like fourth. That's the fourth one, right? Or not even farther than that.
Sixth one, I think.
But I mean, I always really liked that she didn't have a romantic interest. She was just like
she was a strong female.
Yeah, strong female character. Like, I mean, granted, they like completely were over sexualizing her for like to sell the game, but in terms of in the game, like the whole marketing for this game was, hey, check out how hot boobs are, and everyone was like, okay, yeah. But
this is PlayStation 1. I mean, to us, this was amazing graphics.
Yeah, but like in the game, she's like, I mean, she's not. The first 3 games passed the Bechdel test, I think.
What's the Bechdel test?
The Bechdel test is like, it's a test to determine. It's kind of like an unofficial test to determine how like strong a female character is in a movie. Basically, it's a movie passes a Bechdel test if at any point in the movie a woman is not talking about a man that she's interested in, or I'll have to look it up exactly.
Okay. That's interesting though.
Yeah,
I never heard of this before.
The movie has to have at least 2 women in it. The women have to talk to each other, and they have to talk to each other about something besides a man. And this is true. Like if you start watching movies with this in mind, you realize how few movies pass this test.
I think I remember seeing something where Alien had a scene that was not in the movie, because I saw it in a comic adaptation. I think I read it in the novelization that eliminated a scene where Lambert and Ripley were talking about like a sexual encounter with the other guys, about the other guys in a sexual way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they cut it. And they were like, I think by cutting that scene, it passed the Bechdel test. Like Pacific Rim doesn't pass the test, and that's a pretty new movie. I'm trying to think. I think I don't know if Last Jedi or Force Awakens pass it.
What Last Jedi? I never heard of that movie. I know the word Jedi, but that's a movie. That's not a movie. It got canceled, I thought.
Oh, yeah, I got canceled.
Yeah,
In Force Awakens, Rey talks to Leia, but they talk about Han and Luke. Yeah, so then
that movie. Oh,
but they don't talk about him in like a romantic way, but they are talking about a man. So I guess Force Awakens doesn't pass it because I can't think of any other scene where they're talking to each other and it's not about Luke.
all right.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing where like there's like it's like there's two tests I always keep in mind when I'm watching movies. It's the Bechdel test and the Plinkett test from Red Letter Media, where you have to the Plinkett test is you have to describe a character in a way where you don't mention their name, their occupation, or what they're wearing. And if you can describe a character without mentioning those three things, they're a good character. So I like again with Star Wars, but like you can mention Han Solo without saying like, oh, he's a smuggler. You could say, oh, he's like brave, but he's conniving, and he's got this very like roguish attitude.
And he didn't shoot first.
And he did shoot first.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not
Monkey.
anymore.
Monkey. Someone gets that joke out there.
There was a Hard Times article today that was like George Lucas's daughter upset that. Did you see that?
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Upset about she found the special cut of her high school graduation.
Yeah, she found her graduation tape and it was a special edition version of it. She wrote onto the stage on a do-bag.
All right, I think we should go.
Anyway, those are two tests that are interesting. That both like I guess the first 4 Tomb Raider games all pass, which is interesting. It's an interesting thing to note.
Okay, I think we should mention. I think we should go to listener questions, comments, and memories now. I didn't get a ton of feedback for this game because I think most people haven't played it, but I did get some. I'm actually listening right now, or not listening. What am I listening to myself? But this is from the Tomb Raider group. First thing I want to say from Robbie Toes. We're gonna say Toes. I would replay the first level just so I can jump down in the cave, just so I could kill the T-Rex. My child self felt badass for beating him. I didn't even know it was in the damn game until I read that comment and I looked it up because I skipped it. Another one from Gary Woodburn. Loved it. Played maybe 1999. That's a good time to still play this game and still really like playing it in 2019 for the first time. Not the best idea. Not a good idea. But that's what happens when you do this podcast. Another one from Rob Hayerdahl. My very first game played on PS1. Such wonderful memories. 1997 seems like a lifetime ago. It was a lifetime ago. We're in 2019. It's over. It's been a long damn time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 4 when this game came out.
I was 9.
I was 9. Yeah.
Okay, we're the same age.
Yeah, you're making me the old fogey here. I was.
You knew that already.
Yeah, it was like 2022, 23 when I first played it.
In 1997 or
98 probably.
And then here's another one from J.P. Marin. Said the scenarios, the mythos, the story, the costumes, especially the SOLA wetsuit, the dragon, the weird and eerie level where there are floating mountains, the Maria Doria vessel, the monastery, the amazing score by Nathan McCurdy, the 3 secret dragons to collect, which we never actually said yet. In this episode, driving through Venice, the speedboat, fighting a Yeti, fighting the Guardian of the Talion, running through the Great Wall of China, the levels layout and atmosphere, the traps and puzzles. It's just an epic game from start to finish. I agree with that. I really thought that kind of capitalized on a lot of different things that went on in this game, so I wanted to read that. Like it still is a very cool game. I mean, there are things I don't like about it, but it's still a very cool game.
Obviously, the person didn't like the giant spiders either.
Yeah, I don't. And this is one from a guy who was previous on the show, and should be on the show soon. We kind of answered this, but I'm going to mention anyway. So from Michael Hughes, did everyone lock the butler in the freezer, right? I didn't know I could until I read that comment.
It's the safest place for him.
In all honesty, yeah. I mean, he'd be dead. He'd be dead pretty quickly.
It's his natural habitat. It's where he belongs.
He's already old, so I guess you make him a zombie.
Just trying to preserve him like I'm preserving all my artifacts.
Yeah, everybody did, and I think even one person, because like I said, that one guy I watch on Twitch, he plays these level editor. There's people that do level editors of the Tomb Raider games. They design one where he actually comments on that.
Okay.
And to have Laura comment, I'm sorry I locked you in the freezer. For all those times I locked you in the freezer. That was you?
that would be funny.
Know. He's completely blind.
And this one from Michael Davis.
He's just like, I just have this image now of Laura's butler is like completely insane. He's so old, he's lost his mind, so he can't even tell that Laura's not like her parents. Just, Mr. Croft, is that you? It's me, Lara. Mr. Croft, you sound so high pitched all of a sudden. I don't understand. You sound like a bright young man.
All right. He said the shark level terrified me as a kid. Still have extreme anxiety with video game oceans. Stu, I didn't know your name was Michael Davis.
Yeah. I just changed it. I just changed it and then changed it back.
I couldn't help.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you're swimming to the ship, you're trying to. You don't realize at first that you're out swimming a shark.
Well,
I safely assume
that level is terrible.
That if I'm in the water, there's a shark behind me. I think that's a safe assumption to always make, is that a shark is behind me. But also,
so how often do you go in the ocean?
I'm going to be honest. I think I would feel better about being in the ocean with a great white shark, though, than many other sharks. Great white sharks aren't as dangerous as people make them out to be.
Is this our whale fact we haven't had in a while? That's not this a whale fact?
Sure, why not? Yeah, this is my brief sea fact. Well, what do we have here? I'll see you and shell you, son of a beach. That's the name of the title. Random animal fact is that mako sharks and tiger sharks are far more dangerous than great white sharks are. So if I had the choice between being in the water with a great white shark or like a mako shark, great white all the way. You can pet great white sharks. But great white sharks will like come up to boats and you can pet them. There's videos of people like rubbing the sides of great white sharks. They're like cats.
Okay. When I have a cat, I can pet him. He's not going to be able to eat me. I'm not alive, at least.
I mean, he definitely will. He definitely, if that cat wanted to.
If I died, but if I'm dead, he can eat all he likes. I don't need it anymore. I'm not going to use my arm.
Cat really cares. I think it's more about you moving around.
He just cares that I feed him twice a day. That's why he cares.
Let's face it, cats are just too lazy to kill us all. That's the only reason we're still alive.
Like when my alarm goes off in the morning, my cat will come running and jump on the bed and start meowing at me because he knows it's time to get fed.
We might have a lot less cats in the future. I think I was reading the other day they might have found a cure to that cat parasite that makes people love cats. It's a real thing. It's called Toxoplasma gondii. It's a real thing. It's a parasite in cats that infects humans, and it makes you love cats.
I need to look this up. My mother has 7 cats.
This is a real thing.
Have more if she could.
It's like on like a neglected parasite list, but I was reading something the other day that said they might have found a cure for it. And if that's the case, that means people might stop liking cats as much.
But hey, cats at least don't make you go, oh, I can't think of it now. I was trying to make a joke about Las Plagas, but I couldn't think of what they said, and all of a sudden it just gone.
We need Stefan here.
Unfortunately.
I don't know.
It's been a while. All right, I got one more question. One more question I want to, or comment I want to read from Auntie. He said, I was only 7 years old when I was playing Tomb Raider 2. I love dinosaurs, but had never seen one in a video game, except an educational floppy disk. You can imagine my face when I descended into the abyss with a flare in hand and a T-Rex emerged from the darkness and started to roar. The whole game was such a blast, and the sunk ship of Maria Doria is one of the most immersive stages I've ever played. Because I'm trying not to burp during this comment. I mean, again, it has some cool-ass levels. Again, this dinosaur, everybody keeps talking about, I don't remember any dinosaur in my playthrough.
Because you were chicken.
I wasn't chicken. I was in a rush. I don't got time.
You didn't go for any of the secrets, and you missed out.
Hey, I got the one when I drove through the little window with the boat. I got out, grabbed the dragon, got back in the boat.
There's like 100 secrets in the game. Hey, I got the one.
I got a couple here and there, but not much.
Did you do any of the secrets in her mansion?
What's up?
So did any of you guys do the secrets in her mansion?
No, I didn't know there were secrets in the mansion.
Yeah, if you go outside and go into the hedge maze, there's a switch at the end of it, and you have to run out of the hedge maze as fast as you can and get back into the house. It opens a secret door where you go into the basement. There's a bunch of relics from like the first Tomb Raider game.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
That you're supposed to do when you're doing the training level of her home.
Right.
Huh. Cool. I didn't do that either. I did the training thing because I thought I had to because I couldn't figure out how to get the game going. That's it. But I think we should do Show for Box. And Stu, why don't you go first?
Sure. I am definitely gonna shelve this game. I had a lot of fun with it, despite it being a surprise to me. Going back and playing it recently, I remember this game very differently than it is. I had that like nostalgia glasses on, and I remember it being a lot easier. I wasn't expecting the puzzles to be as
horrible.
Not
confusing?
horrible, but just
1997.
Look, we were a lot more patient back in the 90s. We all let games get away with a lot more. That's something we can all admit.
Yes.
We were all way more patient. We had way more time on our hands. So it's interesting to go back and play a game like that and just see like how far we've come, especially seeing this compared to like the new games, which I'm gonna have to play because I brought them up now.
Well, you know what to do.
Yeah, well, season 4, it's gonna be 3 weeks in a row, all 3 Tomb Raider games.
I'm almost okay with that.
I don't tempt me. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it though. I forgot like the sound in this game. The sound in this game is fantastic. Just the music overall is so good, and like when you're near like a swinging puzzle and you just hear the rope creaking, something about that is so like sinister in a way. It's got that really creepy vibe. Like I said, this game feels like a survival horror, like with the atmosphere and the enemies kind of like disappearing in the fog and running out at you and appearing out at you. It's got some actual jump scares in it. So I really had fun playing it. I really had fun like trying to figure out the puzzles as best I could on my own. I had to use the walkthrough a couple times, admittedly, but I just had a lot of fun going back and like really giving myself a challenge. I wouldn't recommend this game for everybody. If you really want to go back and play like an old school challenging game, definitely check out Tomb Raider. It's definitely going on my shelf.
Okay, how about you, Richard?
Well, I would definitely put it on my shelf because this is an old game I enjoyed, and it brings back good memories too, old memories too, and when you are familiar with the old style of gameplay and that, it does come back to you very easily. And while I played this more the computer version, it still brings back the memories and the storyline, and you're used to how the character looked when they first appeared. And it's a good nostalgic field for someone who's seen a character evolve, go in directions that you don't necessarily like, get reimagined and all that. So you get to see a character's roots. And I put on my shelf, I mean, yeah, there were, and I made it through Temple of Zion this time round without having to skip the level and slaughtering all those spiders of hell no size. So that's an accomplishment.
Okay. How about you, Nikki? Oh, wait, did you say shelf or box?
Yeah, I said shelf.
Yeah, I said shelf.
Okay. I was distracted by the cat that was looking at me. I couldn't get him to get off the table. So speaking of cats, he jumped to the table, and I was trying to get him off, but I couldn't get him to go off, and I tried to grab him, it didn't work, and then I got distracted. All right, cool. So that's 2 shelf. How about you, Nikki?
See, that's a hard one for me to say. I would say if you have the nostalgia for the games, if you played them back in the day, that you should shelf it. It's definitely something great to go back to and re-experience those memories. Because before this, I was like, oh, I remember, that scene where you fight the dragon at the end and there's like Yetis and stuff. But I also remembered that I got stuck at that Tibet level for years and I couldn't get past it without cheat codes. So I was afraid that was going to happen again, but to actually go back and get through that, do it legitimately without, cheating or messing around, like taking the game serious and now being old enough to know like what you're supposed to do. It's really fun. And it's it's a great sense of accomplishment because the controls are not easy to go back to. And a lot of the puzzles are just like very asinine to try to figure out, like, oh, I need to go across the map over here and move these boxes and get this switch before I can get this switch back at the beginning and all of that. But if you've never played them, I think you can just miss out on it and stick with the new ones. You're not really missing anything.
I agree.
Video.
I completely agree.
But would you shelf it or box it?
Me personally, I'd shelf it.
Okay, that's what we're looking for. But that's all good points. I'll go last. I think it's obvious what I'm going to do with this, but I'm actually going to not do obviously. I'm going to put this on the shelf.
Really?
I will never play it again, but I beat it. So I can go over and look and go, you know what? I beat that son of a bitch game. I beat it. I will never touch it again. I will not really recommend it to people, but I beat it. I'm very proud that I finished it because I didn't think I was going to beat this game. And it was shortly after I started playing it, and we had played this ahead of time. And Stu's in New York. Stefan couldn't get it to load. I'm like, I don't think any of us but Richard are going to beat this game originally. And it was just, and then Stefan couldn't get it to load. Period, because he hadn't actually tried to get it to play again until I think it was like Tuesday of this week, and we're recording on a Sunday. And I'm like, yeah, he ain't going to beat this game in 3 days because he beat Golden Sun in 2 days. I don't know how, but he did. But this game is I would play a level of this game and I would be exhausted mentally. I'm like, I'm done. I cannot play another one right away. It was just, even though I had a guide I'm reading, it just took a lot out of me. But it's not a bad game. It just, I don't have the nostalgic for it, so I got to see it in all its glory. It's not a bad game. Once I understood how to play it, I understood what I was doing. I didn't hate it. I enjoyed parts of it. I really enjoyed when the end screen came on and it was done. But and I wish I didn't play it like I was playing Resident Evil and save every single bullet I could because it didn't do. I would have had a much easier time if I understood that, even though I should have known because I was reading the guide. But
this is your
not
Fallout
everything.
moment.
Fuck
This is your
Fallout. Hey,
Fallout
Fallout came out the same year as this game too, by the way.
An old, janky, horrible game that you wouldn't ever recommend to anybody, but you feel satisfied in beating it, so you're putting it on your shelf.
There's actually, if you look at 1997, there's a bunch of games that we have done at the show that came out that year.
That was a big year for games.
Yeah.
Big year.
We're also nostalgic for that year, I think, too.
Well, I was 4, so I played whatever people got me.
And this is on everything. This is on Steam. This is on PS3. This is on iPhone and iPad, Android somehow. But so if you're interested, you can play it. You need a guide and you need to pay attention to kind of what you're doing, and it plays a lot differently. But once you get about midway through, it picks up. Once you start understanding what you're doing, it can be kind of fun. The levels are too long. That just for someone of this day and age, they're longer. They overstay their welcome easily. But again, this is a PlayStation 1 game, where if the game would have been too short, they would have got a bad review for being too short. That was at the time. So it's going on the shelf, but I never want to see it again. Never. Never going to play it again. I never want to play any of the original ones ever again now. That's for sure.
Hey, the fourth one's okay.
I do want to play Legend. I want to play Legend. I want to play Anniversary. I want to play those styles.
Please don't make us play Anniversary.
I won't. But I don't ever want to play.
I am curious to try Anniversary at some point.
It's just like that's my whole review of Anniversary.
I know that they merge some levels together and they change some little details. They still keep the cool death.
Yeah, like I said, the biggest change is like the introduction of quick time events, which I think just kind of ruins that
era,
game.
though.
Yeah.
It was that era, but it was the era, like it was at the high point where, like, for whatever reason, people thought the more quick time events, the better. And so everyone's putting way too many in game.
Because Tomb Raider Anniversary came out in 2006.
Yeah, it's just too many. It's just so many.
No, 2007. Sorry, 2007. So it's just that era. That was a big time when everything had quick time events. Resident Evil 4 has quick time events. God of War. It was just that was what they did a lot.
I want to point out, I'm not against quick time events. It's just in Tomb Raider Anniversary, it's like the whole boss fight. Like the whole boss fights are quick time events, and it just kind of ruins that game in my mind.
Not all of them, I think. From what I've seen of some playthroughs, not all of them are quick time events.
A lot of them are like a mix, but like the
mix. Yeah.
The two T-Rex fights is completely.
Uncharted is good though. Uncharted is really good.
I like Uncharted, but Uncharted also has non-quick time event stuff in it.
But Uncharted 2 is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Instead of playing Uncharted, let's just play the better version of Uncharted, Tomb Raider.
You pick this Tomb Raider as your Tomb Raider for the show.
Next time I'll pick Tomb Raider 2013.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, wait. That's one more thing. Yeah. This game is called Tomb Raider. You don't raid any tombs whatsoever. I think there's like maybe 2 in the entire game. But other than that, there's no tombs.
You could argue the Great Wall of China is a tomb.
You could argue that ship was a tomb with all the dead bodies in it.
Yeah. You were actually sorry. You were actually. It was a misspelling. You were the tomb maker. Yeah. You were going around making tombs.
I mean, she does murder everybody.
Yeah. She just leaves tombs in her wake.
Yeah, well, if you want to complain about the name, remember that for Super Mario Brothers in the first game, you really only play one brother.
And you're not very super. Should just the game should be just called Mario Guy.
Yeah, and Legend of Zelda, you don't play Zelda, you play Link.
You don't even really learn about the Legend of Zelda. They don't introduce the Legend of Zelda until like Ocarina of Time.
All right. I think it's time to
Tomb Raider, in Rise of the Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 2013, all the tombs are optional.
Yeah.
Except for the last, like, 10% of Rise. But up to that point.
I never played Rise.
It's so good. It's so much better. I love 2013 Tomb Raider, but I think Rise improves upon it in every way, except for one. They removed the, like, brutal deaths, which I understand some people were against those. I liked them. I thought it gave real weight to failing in that game.
Even in this game, some of the deaths were like pretty brutal or obscene, and like I liked that a lot. I thought it was a good little touch.
Yeah, it's something they've always like struggled with at Core and Crystal Dynamics, where they don't know how like brutal the deaths should be. Because in the first games they were all pretty brutal, and then they kind of like tapered off a little bit, and then they kind of brought them back, tapered off. And then fucking 2013 Tomb Raider came out, and it was like the most brutal it's ever been. And then they tapered off again, and then kind of brought them back for Shadow. They just like can't decide where they want to stand on it.
I don't know. Some of the deaths in first Tomb Raider were actually kind of cool. I mean, let's face it. Stand on the hand of Midas, become a gold statue. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, right. No, that's what I say. Like they were so like. They were really good and really powerful in the first games. And then I think in like 2013, like you fuck up and you get impaled by like a jagged piece of metal falling off a plane. And it hits you so hard. Just like it's the perfect image for fuck, I fucked up. Oh my God. God damn it.
They're trying to outdo Dead Space too.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. Oh, that we need to play that someday on the show.
And then Rise just like fades to black and you're like, oh, okay. It's not that bad. I'll just reload.
I'm so thankful this game had reloading. I mean, my version would have had it no matter what, but yeah, I would have never seen the end of this game without, I mean, like when you were talking earlier about the fact that people play this game with no saving and no loading, my God, that's all I gotta say.
I was looking up like complete playthroughs of this game to see how quick people can beat it, and I was seeing like complete playthroughs of people who are beating this game in 9 hours, just nonstop, getting everything, like a full 100% run. It's like, what the fuck?
That's ridiculous.
You have to know everything. You have to know where everything is.
Yeah, I've seen a glitchless run that's only like an hour, 45 minutes, I believe.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's inhuman.
And I don't even know the best time.
Play games longer. What's wrong with you people?
All right, I think we should introduce what we're talking about next week. I had enough of Tomb Raiding.
Mike, Mike, I'll give you a link to the playlist for the Tomb Raider 2 No Loads No Med.
Okay, I can add in the show notes.
Yeah, you gotta also do. You didn't even. Don't think you fully introduced us too. At the beginning.
It happens.
It's okay.
You said your first name. That's all we need. I'm gonna
screwed everything up.
You're fine.
Welcome to the end of the podcast. Who was with us this time? We're doing it in a completely different format. We're trendsetters.
The thing is, we could just say it. I could copy it, plug it into the beginning, but I'm not going to. I could. Say that.
Hey, we had so much difficulties with this one. So
name one other podcast that introduced their guests at the end. I bet you can't. We're the only ones.
I will have you mention. I'm going to have you plug here, but I do want to mention what we're playing next week. We are playing Aliens Infestation for the Nintendo DS. That is going to be. I already started. Going to be interesting. So I'm excited. So so stay tuned next week for lots of alien talk, because I'm sure they'll be talking about the movies, because it's us.
It's us. We're the aliens.
I don't think you're impregnating anybody through their mouth, so I hope not, at least. But hey, we We do talk a lot, though. Oh. All right. So, and I think before we wrap up, since you are a guest, Richard, do you want to plug? You have anything you want to plug?
I've got tons of things I could plug, but I do have a YouTube channel. It's still very small. I've still got to really get a proper name for it because I started as part of something to do after my wife passed away. But I do a bunch of playthroughs on it, and in the past week, I've uploaded at least a level for Tomb Raider 2. I started putting up a playthrough of I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream, as well
This was almost on the show.
Yes, you told me.
It was.
You'll
it
have
was
to
till we
get
lost
it.
DJ.
Well, you should get up there for next Halloween time. It is a perfect game for around that time. I also put up one for, I think I finished up a Myst 3 Exile playthrough.
Also was almost on the show.
Which game?
Myst 3.
What the fuck were you going to make it play Myst 3 for?
I don't know.
Hate it, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I secretly want us to fail.
I'll just be reading what to do, so it won't be too bad for me, but, you know.
I have a bunch of others that I've been playing through, and I do like at least once every 10 days I put up a playthrough of Monstrum. Fun little game to play. Always a new experience. And I also have a bunch of stories that I have up on fanfiction.net, archive of our own, and even up on Comic Vine. And a good portion of them are game related. In fact, I've been working on some based off Sierra games, like a story I've called The Modern Day Casanova, which is an adaptation of Leisure Suit Larry. And yeah, it has the appropriate humor in it too.
Nice.
I actually own that entire series of Leisure Suit Larry games now.
You do? Why?
Yeah, they were $2 on a Fanatical sale, so I bought the whole set. That is why.
I also
$2.
have a very popular story up there called From Their Eyes, which is an adaptation of Shadow of the Colossus. And it's gotten a lot of praise, especially for the unique viewpoint, as I've never played the game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of people love it.
That was like our, 14th episode?
14th episode, yep.
Did I guess that? Did I really guess that right?
Right, yeah, it's 14th.
Holy shit.
It was a long time ago.
Not in a galaxy far, far away.
God, I can't believe we've been doing this for this long. Oh, I'm so happy, but I can't believe it sometimes. I look back and go, what?
That's my reaction to no matter what I'm doing, no matter how long I'm doing, I'm just like, I can't believe I've been doing this long. I'll be making a cup of tea in the morning, and it'll be like 2 minutes. I'm like, I can't believe I've spent 2 minutes.
Yeah,
making
but I'll definitely get all those. I'll get as many of those links I can to you, Mike.
Okay, I can add them in the back, in the bottom. And also want to give a quick shout out before I forget to our awesome intro, courtesy of Bulby, aka Mike Stoney from his EP Bite the Bullet song Cool Kid Squad.
You didn't have Nikki mention anything.
I don't think he has any. I asked him beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just check it instead of having that awkward. I don't have anything. Oh, okay. I did that before, so I checked beforehand. Now I know you.
Usually you do it to me and Stefan. Anything to promote, we're like,
I
no.
did early on. Then I realized, there's no point.
We would tell you if we had something to promote.
Yeah.
Well, again, we've been recording for I might have
2 hours.
forgotten if he said that. Yeah.
2 hours and 23 minutes, right around there. Nobody's counting. Just the guy editing. He's counting.
I can only promise the audience so much.
Hey, we can promise this is one of our longest episodes.
There are 3 1997 games that we have canceled. I just realized
on our list.
Yeah, we dropped one. I can't remember why. We dropped another 2 of them. We were gonna do Ace Combat 2. We dropped that.
That's a good thing.
Because none of us could get it to work.
I didn't try. How was this okay with when you agreed to get rid of it?
I'm worried about mentioning the second one because I can't remember if we dropped it. I think we did.
It doesn't matter. I mean, we can say it anyway.
Did we drop Last Express? I think we did.
Nope, it's on the list.
Oh, it's still on the list? Okay, we're still doing that.
Spoiler alert, we're doing Last Express eventually.
So, yeah, eventually, for the 3 people that know what that game is. I say, even though I'm the one who picked it, and I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, I know. I've learned that at least you're not trying to torture me again with something that I'm like, oh, no. One is another one from 1997, too.
Weren't we going to play Sonic R? Weren't we talking about playing that one?
Never officially, I don't think.
We were talking about doing Sonic Chronicles, and we dropped that. And I thought we were, like, very briefly, we're going to play Sonic R, and then we dropped that.
Sonic Chronicles is just ridiculously has problems.
Yeah.
One, the emulators don't work. You have to play the legit game, and that game is fucking hard. Good, but hard because if you fail a special move, good luck.
The real crime is how we haven't played Diddy Kong Racing yet.
I'm okay with that. That's a good game.
Bushido Blade was a 97 game? We gotta play that.
All right, I think it's time to wrap up this podcast. I was waiting to see. We're not going anywhere. So
if you know any 1997 games you want us to play, send it in to something at Games Outbound.
We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. People did say, some guy sent me a Spotify list for Golden Sun on Facebook. I did get that. I did read it. I did listen to it.
So help me God, if you recommend a game from 1998, we will ban you for life. No, only 1997 recommendations.
Oh, God. So, yeah, please follow us on all the social media. And, again, if you're still listening to us somehow at this point in the episode, I was going to mention this earlier, but I forgot to. Please go through our list. We've done lots of different games. We do different movies. We do different comics. You might see something you didn't know. And again, spread us like the T-virus. Let other people know. That's the best way to support us because we're getting closer and closer to, we're starting, people are starting to get some traction. There's a lot of people out there listening. Hell, there's people in Australia that are listening to us. And if you are still listening, McLeod's Daughter is a pretty good show if you have any idea what I'm talking about. You might if you're from Australia. But somebody got that reference, maybe. That's a long shot, though. But I want to thank everyone. Have a wonderful day. And thank you guys for coming on Games My Mom Found. And everyone, have a wonderful night, everybody.
Thanks for having me.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.